All Wings Considered is brought to you by Pleasureborgs. Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be added to our own. Now, here's Ben and Jason.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of All Wings Considered, the only weekly live Wing Commander commentary talk show. Starring me, Loaf!
And me, Thunderdoll.
To some extent, yes.
Yep. I'm here to fill in the gaps, baby.
Now, how are you? What's going on in the Dunderverse?
I never thought. I guess everything's a verse now too, huh?
Everything is a verse. It's 2020, and everything is a verse.
My verse is good, I guess. Nothing major to report.
Okay.
Nothing exciting, really.
All right, we're done. See you guys next week.
Yep, that's it. Wrapping it up.
No, we have a very exciting show for you.
Oh, I guess. Well, our big thing. We had a great watching of Saving Private Ryan.
Yes, we had a Saving Private Ryan party on Tuesday.
Yes,
Allie saw it for the first time, which we did not realize.
Yes, which is a crazy thing to see someone see that movie to watch it for the first time, not knowing what's coming in it.
So that was fun.
That was really great.
We had World War II food and watched a cartoon and a newsreel before it. It was fun. Movie fun.
Yep.
Middle America.
Yep, very. It was a very good Tom Hanks viewing.
Oh, and before we move on, let me just say the intro of Pleasureborgs from Privateer 2. I was just thinking about this. A wavy future history analysis of Privateer 2 is going to go. That's a 7 of 9 joke, but it predates.
Oh,
it predates her addition to Voyager.
Interesting.
So
maybe they had an inside scoop.
Yeah, they.
Was it like years?
No, I think it's just totally unrelated sexy robots.
Well, no one's ever thought of a sexy robot before. It's for everybody invents it for the first time. Anyways, moving on.
What are we talking about tonight on this very on-topic and professional show?
Well, I mean, the big issue is, the big gun. We're looking at the Behemoth.
We're at the Loki. We're in the Loki series of Wing Commander 3, which we'll be playing a little bit later.
Yep.
So we'll talk about the Behemoth. We're going to talk about space patches, a couple other things, and we also have book club, which is chapter 25 of Heart of the Tiger. That'll probably be in like an hour and a half, 2 hours from now. So if you start reading right now, you can join the book club.
And it is a very short one. It's a very specific.
It's a single chapter. We've been reading the chapters of the book that match up with the game as it plays, and this is one chapter for the series we're going to play. So it should be interesting. How is it different? How is it the same? Why were these changes made? We'll find out.
Yes, we will.
Etc.
In great discussion and detail. Well, is it time?
And we have some artifacts too to show off a little bit later. So the Italian book. The Italian book has not arrived yet, but it is in New York City, so it's made the jump across the ocean.
It's made it to Ellis Island.
Any day now, we'll see.
It has to get through immigration.
I am ridiculously excited to see the Italian translation.
Yeah, this should be something very
Wing Commander 1 and 2 books. This is going to be something special.
Yeah, that will be very special. That will be a very special episode.
Yes, it will.
Different from all the others.
All right, with that, why don't we head over to the slideshow viewer and look at some multimedia.
Yep. You did not push your afterburn the proper way.
That's why I always run out.
You're sliding out of here. All right, what is up first, my friend?
What should we talk about today? Well, let's talk about what we ended the show last week.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If you recall it, last week we ended because we were so excited to go see the first episode of Picard, where we may have noticed a familiar friend. This is a still from Picard. I don't know why it's in 4:3. They still from Picard, and if you look closely at that knife...
Hey, I've seen that blade before.
Looks a little familiar. Indeed, it is Seether's Double Shadow knife from Wing Commander 4. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a cool sci-fi fantasy knife.
Yeah, it's used a lot.
It's if you're not familiar with the backstory, it is called the Double Shadow knife. It was designed by a man named Gil Hibben, released in 1991 as just sort of a fantasy knife design. He wanted to create this fantasy knife. fantasy. I don't know how many times I can say fantasy knife without meaning anything, but fantasy knife.
Like a knife you'd see, in fantasy worlds.
Yeah, and this became a favorite of TV and film producers, and it shows up everywhere in the 90s. It's on Babylon 5. It's in Wing Commander as a starring role in Wing Commander. Time Cop, I think, just a whole list of things. And it was used as Praetor Shinzon's knife in the last Star Trek Next Generation movie, Nemesis. So now that we want to have this Romulan aesthetic in Picard, it's back. So Seether's knife is still causing trouble.
Still slicing away.
And the other ridiculous part of Seether's knife is if you ever either read the original script for Wing Commander 4 or the novelization, it's supposed to be a laser knife. So somewhere along the prop department was like, oh, we're not going to do a futuristic laser knife. This is cool. And so
it's a close second.
This is pretty cool.
It's a close second to the laser knife, I guess. I can see that.
And I will close our knife talk by saying you can buy these. They are still manufactured by United Cutlery. Interestingly, the same company that made the Pilgrim Cross replicas back in 99. They're still readily available. You can get them on eBay at any sci-fi convention. Or maybe they don't do that anymore now that everyone's woke. But it used to be that every sci-fi convention would have just like a table of weapons to buy.
I feel like somebody's always going to want to buy a mace or a samurai sword.
Yeah.
Maybe they just put it like a different area or something.
Maybe, but wherever weird space knives are sold, you can get one.
Get them at Gars.
All right, what are we going to talk about next? Here's a quick update.
Okay, sure. Let's do the quick one.
We've been showing off the
in the pale moonlight.
Yes, the through the moon gate.
Through the moon gate.
Cloth map artwork.
You hate me.
They've been painting to go with that Kickstarter, and it's almost done. And here it is.
Hey.
So I kind of organized my mind and how there's this top tier that's canonical Wing Commander stuff that was made by Origin in the 90s. And then there's this second layer that's stuff made by ex-Origins people that still relates to Wing Commander, like the Kickstarter CDs with the music and this. And so this is a second tier dopamine rush for me.
Interesting. All right. Interesting. Why aren't you going to explain what we got more colored here?
So the Wing Commander part, I guess, should be obvious. It's a Karathi and a Drolthi up at the top, and the one of the stars actually matches Vega in the night sky. So it is an actual star map in addition to a piece of art. They've got all the details about that at WC News. But it's the Guardian from Ultima and various Ultima stuff, worlds colliding. So pretty neat.
Ultima stuff.
I don't know the details of Ultima stuff. I've played them all, but I don't know it I know Wing Commander.
That's A-okay. Which one?
Well, we've got space patches and we've got the Behemoth left.
All right, well, let's do some patches. You got to save the big guns for last.
All right.
That's just how it rolls.
Well, this is so you can probably explain this news story better than I can, and you'll see it when I bring it up. But what's going on here?
Well, apparently we posted two of the same images. So what we have here is the new logo for the United States Space Force, Department of the Air Force, which will actually be the explanation for this, and then the logo for Starfleet Command, which
this is a thing that went viral on internet, and like most things that go viral on internet, it's pretty stupid.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's come on, man.
And I don't think anyone has pointed out why this is especially. Everyone has pointed out since this came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, those suckers copied Star Trek." Actually, it's the existing Space Force logo, just shaped differently.
Yeah.
The other part nobody seems to point out is that's not the Star Trek logo. No one knows that is the Star Trek logo. Kirk doesn't have that on his shit.
Yes.
I understand it is a Star Trek logo that exists, but it's not the one anyone knows.
Yeah.
But regardless of all that, it was a big thing on the news because apparently there's just nothing going on in the news.
It's just everything. You're like, well, we can make anything you can make fun of the stupidity of government. Let's go for it now.
Yeah, and to me, that's the danger of doing that because then when the government does truly stupid things, you're like, oh, it's just that again. I don't care.
It's just another logo. But yeah.
Anyway, this seemed like a good opportunity for me to dig into the cloth patches that appear in Wing Commander Productions.
What a great stretch you've made here,
yes.
my friend.
Well, I mean,
These are patches. Yeah, hey man, screw it. I see what you're going with it.
I love when I was a kid. I had this book. It was called Space Patches. It was like this big blue guy. I'm sure this is all on the Wikipedia now, but it was this book called Space Patches. It came with like a shuttle mission patch, and it was just the color plates of all the NASA patches. And I loved them, and I dreamed of someday owning like space patches. Anyway,
I gotcha.
Space patches are cool.
Gotcha.
We are unmuted, right?
Yes.
I didn't check this time.
Yes. Well, I would assume so. People are talking about things we've said, so I would hope.
So this is the very first patch made for Wing Commander, for the film shoot of Wing Commander 3. You're all familiar with the sword and star logo that is used pretty much only in Wing Commander 3. This was designed by Chris Douglas, and it is called the Combined Forces logo. And it's sort of supposed to be like a... Well, the fiction is supposed to be this is everybody together for victory sort of a thing. So the Space Force wears it, the Navy wears it.
I'm figuring like 5 stars for the 5 branches.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Which saves them a bunch on prop making because Wing Commander 3 has Marines, it has Space Forces pilots, and it has Navy pilots. So you have one patch that you can use for all 3.
Sure.
But of course, we don't see this logo again after Wing Commander 3. It does not show up on the pilots in Wing Commander 4. So this is just almost like invasion stripes sort of a...
Yeah, it's a war... Yeah,
it's a symbol of the effort to
yeah, it's an allied
war.
Yeah, it's just a combined wartime patch.
It does make one cameo in the Wing Commander movie. In of all places, this kind of obscure Wing Commander 3 logo shows up right next to the most embarrassing movie typo of all time. Emerald Tolan.
Oh, yeah.
But, because that's during the war, so it makes sense that they would have it then. So for Wing Commander 4, they redesigned the Confederation logo to be the Terran Confederation Unified Space Command, which is kind of the one you're familiar with.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense. I mean, the other one having the sword during wartime, now they're at peace.
This is the peacetime fleet, and they'll carry through, they'll have the same design for Prophecy, which we'll see in a minute, but... Yeah. They did design 2 other logos for Wing Commander 4, or 2 other patches for Wing Commander 4's production, which were the Black Lance, Space Nazis, and the Union Border Worlds. And the game had all the different uniforms as your alliances changed.
Right.
There was also a big one of these they made for the duffel bags on the Lexington.
Any logic for the 8-point star?
Not that I'm familiar with. I think it's just a jump point.
Okay, just...
I mean, as far as I know, it's the Origin logo, which is the biggest thing it is. But it's a jump point. It's the Origin logo. It's I think you could retcon. You could very easily, if you had to take Wing Commander and start writing more stories, you could very easily retcon it that it's the 8 sentient races that are part of the Confederation or something like that. Yeah. But there's no official backstory for it.
Gotcha.
In fact, the 8 sentient races is something I just made up then. We know of like a dozen or so, but there's not a specific set of founders like there is the Federation that's known. These are the actual quick and dirty graphic designs for the logos from the Wing Commander 4 production.
And then the question was also asked in reference to the Border Worlds patch too.
Well, there's what it means to the designers, at least.
So here you go.
But I think it's planets to say world, and it has the Confed star because they came from
sure. Kind of like it's kind of like the early American flag that has like the Union Jack in the corner instead of the star as it has the stripes. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, there definitely is some thought behind this.
That's and if not, that's a great theory we just came up with that I'm sticking and arguing to forever now.
It's definitely supposed to be the Confed star, and it's supposed to be worlds on the border of it. Sure. And by the way, making this stuff up is tremendously fun. I would love the opportunity to do this officially.
Yeah, because I guess what do you think? Do you think those are it says yellow wings? What is that the war around the
it might be the between
and they're connected only by this thin thread.
Or it's the galaxy and they are now equals. Or you could go anywhere with this.
Yeah.
if you would like
that
to,
one's fun. I like that. You know, there's a lot of meaning you could pull out of that if that was like the flag or something.
if you'd like to enjoy some world class fictional logo meaning stuff like that, the Dune Encyclopedia by Willis McNally invents so much stuff and explains it in a fake academic tone. It's fantastic.
For a second, you're going to plug somebody else, and I'm like, dude, we're doing it right here, right now, you jerk.
All right. For Prophecy, there were again... Prophecy. That should be a thing. Wing Commander fans, if you say Prophecy to them, they have to say back. It's like the Turtle game. Yeah,
I try to do that.
Every time somebody says Prophecy, the other Wing Commander fans don't have to say that, or they buy the drinks.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Well, after you establish it, you can just drop it, and it's like a test.
And we're gonna learn to start calling it like the fifth game. Or
Yes, there you go.
So when they made the fifth game,
but it's not. Wait a minute, it's not technically the fifth game. There are other games in between there.
Sorry, Extremely Anal Ben is dead. So it has the same Unified Space Command logo patches on the Confed uniforms, and then they also did patches.
We need a soundboard badly.
Oh, are we too quiet?
No. Mike Trillian said put it on a soundboard. So you get
prophecy.
We need the buttons that we totally do. We have that thing, but
we got to plug it in. That's
we'll have to do that.
Story of my life.
Yeah, we have some major projects to do coming up, so we'll figure out some time to do that.
So they did the 3 patch logos for the
squadrons,
fighter squadrons, the Black Diamond, the Wolfpack, and the other one, Black Widow. And the other one.
Those other guys that, who cares about them?
In the game itself, these appear only on the leather jackets. So occasionally, there's flight suits in the game, and then there's like the BDUs, standard duty uniforms, and then occasionally pilots will be wearing like an outside leather jacket.
Which is funny to see on a carrier in space with climate control.
Yeah, maybe it's cold. Actually,
Tuesday is cold.
Hold on to that thought because it's going to connect to real life in just a minute.
All right.
So you only see these when they're wearing a leather jacket. So you'll see Maniac's Black Widow's one a lot. I don't know if you even see the Diamond one in the game because they never wear the flight suits. But those are the 3 patches they did for Prophecies. And there's some of the original art. These are actually scans of the sticker props that they stuck on the helmets. And it's not a thorough analysis of Wing Commanders without looking at the movie. There were 4 patch designs created for the movie, and
I only count 3, man.
These are the first 2. That's the next slide.
I was throwing you off.
If you looked at the movie, these kind of seem different than regular Air Force patches. They printed them on a much thinner, rubbery material. It's very similar to the beta cloth patches that they used in the Apollo moon landings. If you actually look at the moon landing footage, the patches are incredibly slight. They're thin little pieces of material rather than the embroidered ones you think of. They went with that look for the movie, which is why they don't look like the detailed ones of the game. So you get more detail in the logo, but no cool embroidering look. And they did one for each of the movie's set pieces, the Concordia, the Tiger's Claw, and then Pegasus. And if you look at the shoulders in all those scenes, they match up correctly. The only weird one is that when Maniac and Blair are headed to the Tiger's Claw, their peacoats that they're wearing when they get aboard are Concordia ones. So were they at the Concordia earlier? Who knows?
What's weird to me on these is that it's Confederation... why does it have the weird... Because you have Confederation Capital, it's supposed to be capital ship, and then Confederation Naval Vessel. What weird text to include onto the patch?
It is odd text.
It doesn't...
And here's this one, which is... you can't quite see it, but it's CSS Pegasus. Confederation Galactic Marines.
Okay.
So that shows up on the folks in the Pegasus.
I mean, that sort of makes... But the other... It's just weird to have them say vessel and all that. Oh, here we go. Get some bright colors here.
Yeah, so here's the other half of these embroidered patch talk. Yeah. Another tradition among Wing Commander stuff was that they would have a different patch design for each of the games that folks worked on. It started with Wing Commander 3 because they gave the Wing Commander 3... Awesome. And this is what your talk reminded me of. The Wing Commander 3 team all got leather bomber jackets for finishing the game.
Okay.
Just like nice leather bomber jackets.
Yeah.
And then they would do patches that they could sew onto the bomber jacket, just like an actual
bomber jacket.
Yeah. So you have all these origin folks who have these fancy jackets with these amazing patches on them. But they live in Austin, Texas. There's never a reason to wear a leather.
You have to drive. You have to literally leave the state in order to have a reason to wear that, or go to some other ice skating rinks. I'm assuming they must have maybe that.
I went to school at the University of Texas, and I remember the incredible crisis. The one day there was a rumor of ice. They closed the school. It was like Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, this is a story you told Benny, and it always is it's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's like 50 degrees out. So, anyway, the different development teams for the latter half of the series would have a cloth patch they would get, and they're really cool and bright and well designed. They're Wing
great.
4, Wing 3, Karathi Saga, which you never see. You never see a Karathi Saga patch.
That one is definitely my favorite.
And then Privateer 2, which you can get pretty easily because
you have like a bunch of those lying around the hats.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, there's a bunch in this room, I think.
They were also included with the deluxe edition of the game, so there was a way for people to get that.
Oh, I have one.
Yeah, you have one.
I definitely have one.
And then there was also this larger prophecy patch that you can put on the back of the jacket. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like the Wing Commander 3 and 4. They're definitely super bright. I like that. And then, the Karathi Saga one's just awesome. That's just an insane amount of detail.
Yeah, that's cool.
The claw looks great.
I have one somewhere here. We'll dig out the patch.
I like how we just randomly looked around like it's just suddenly.
Like I can see that.
Yeah, like it's somewhere sitting out. I would have seen that and been like, oh, this is really cool, though. It's definitely not sitting anywhere out here.
And the other ones I threw on for the end here are a couple of not real patches, but made in the style of the movie ones for the Confederation Handbook to fill out the universe. So there's the Special Psychological Operations. There's the emblem for the eyes, the Jason. See, I want to say Eisen every time, but it's Jason.
Yes.
And then the worst one is the Confederation Flight School logo that, for whatever reason, has the Tiger's Claw logo roughly pasted in the center.
You got to keep it busy and give me some color in there. There you go.
No real good narrative reason for that.
But here you go, you jerks. Yeah.
Anyway, I did a Twitter thread with all this and some other stuff, and somebody replied with their favorite military patch, which was this. I thought I'd end it with that.
That's a great one. That is a great one. Everybody wants to be a space shuttle door gunner, but there's not that many slots. It's a very, very select position. Few people have held it.
And that's my talk on Wing Commander Space Patches. I hope you enjoyed that.
I thought that was fantastic. Just seeing the Karathi Saga patch alone was great.
I do have a minor weird one.
I was going to say, do you want to do that one?
Yes, here.
Okay, because
So, the crazy big news this week, totally unrelated to anything Wing Commander in any way, was the very surprising death of Kobe Bryant. And that's it's one of those ones that shocks everybody, like when Michael Jackson died or the Pope or...
Yeah, I have a story about when Michael Jackson died, but all right.
You're going to tell a story about Michael Jackson?
Well,
there's no better reason than
this is so it was because that was 2009, 2010. I had just started teaching, and I was teaching my very first summer class. Yeah, it was 2009 when he died, and they were doing they were doing some type of survey, the course evaluation where I had to just sit outside the room, and it was some 3-hour night class. So for whatever reason I was sitting out there, and all of a sudden, this woman, probably in her late 30s, comes charging out of the room to me, who's sitting in this little lounge, and she's like, Michael Jackson just died. Can we go home? And I'm like, no, we can't go home. Literally, the class has been, you guys are, the first 15 minutes, I'm about to come back in there, we're going to start doing stuff. No. And then we spent, actually, the next hour and a half debating Michael Jackson's best album and song. So, it was a really productive day.
All right. Well, this is not related to that in any way.
Well, I just figured that would give us a nice, soft landing to go from.
We were all shocked with that news on Sunday. And it got me to thinking about the Wing Commander movie, as many things do. There is that scene at the start of the Wing Commander movie where they're at the Pegasus, they have the Marine patches, and they're going, and he's reading off the space battleships that have been destroyed by the Karathian. The eye was gone, and the Kobe. And this is an old trope that a lot of pulpy military sci-fi does, where it wants to have its space Pearl Harbor, so it gives the ships both American and Japanese names.
Sure.
So totally unrelated to Kobe Bryant. And I mean, the movie was made in 1998, so it was before he was even a big deal.
Just playing on the soundboard.
Yeah. But the thing that I think has always struck out to Wing Commander fans is that there's a typo. This is the script right here. It is spelled Kobi instead of Kobe in the script. And apparently at no point between when this third draft script was written and when they authored the DVD or the Blu-ray or printed the novelization did an editor ever notice this, because it's spelled Kobi everywhere.
Which is funny, because I don't think that's a word.
It's not a thing. It's totally unintentional.
Yeah. Well, you figure they get, spell check, jerks.
But that's how a typo can spread everywhere in a shared universe, just because...
Yeah.
So where did this come from? This is the third draft of the Wing Commander movie. We went back to the second draft. It's not included there. What happened was, for the third draft of the movie, they got a a script doctor, whose job was to take the existing script, which they were pretty happy with, and try to make it cheaper. And one of the incredibly expensive set pieces in the second draft was this opening where we see this beach, and it looks like this beautiful beach that the Karathi attack, and you realize they're in a dome in an asteroid.
Okay.
So he turned that into the control room scene, where it's people reading sensors and scanners and things, much more cheaper to produce.
Sure, yeah. It's the spoken exposition of the event. Okay.
And he added that line, and to talk about what's going on. It's a great tell, don't show line in that sense. It's building world around you without doing anything expensive. Hey, a giant space battleship just exploded somewhere. Hey, another one's exploded somewhere else. Can we see that? No. So anyway, it was this LA script doctor, Michael Finch. And what just occurred to me in all of this was, if this had been done a couple years later, there is no way someone in Los Angeles would have misspelled Kobe.
Yeah. I'm trying to look. I don't even know if... Because there's not... What's funny is there's not actually a Japanese warship named the Kobe.
No, it's just the location.
Yeah.
In
fact,
one I
never got to.
Action Stations does that same trope better, because it has the
Soryu.
North Carolina and the Soryu is the ships.
Well, North Carolina wasn't at Pearl Harbor. That's but yeah.
They do the American and
not to pop your.
No, and Star Trek: The Next Generation, Gene Roddenberry was big on this.
Yeah.
That's why the Enterprise has the sister ship, the Yamato.
Yeah, which is a really, that's a weird name to kind of use, though, I feel.
It is a weird, and I wonder if it's half Space Battleship Yamato rather than...
Sure, because, you're talking about the largest kamikaze of all time. Which we'll be talking about kamikazes again later. The novels love kamikazes. All right, should we get to the very, very big guns?
Yes, let's take a quick look at the Behemoth before we move on to gameplay.
Here's a big gun. Doesn't even fit in the screen. Big gun. Always at the ready.
Here's the Behemoth.
Here's the Behemoth. Right.
I realized that we had no multi-view picture of the Behemoth in the CIC's database. So I grabbed some screenshots real quick, but there's the front, there's the left, there's the right, and you can see that it's not... it doesn't have bilateral symmetry. The incomplete textures are different on different sides. Mm-hmm. There's the back. I remember it had 3 engines in the 3DO version. So
no, it's a plastic mold. You saw the gun.
Oh yes, yes, that's the prop gun for one of the prop guns from the Marines in Wing Commander 4, and it is just a heavy, like, rubbery substance.
Yeah, it's like that.
Underneath, above. And I thought these renders were cool.
Yeah, this is really interesting compared to what we saw in the 3DO version, because they did that different as well, because they removed the flying.
Yeah, they removed the flying in the 3DO version. Yeah. But here is, you can see it's got like a reactor core at the back and all this. This belongs in one of those Star Wars visual dictionary books.
The cutaway of, explaining all the subsystems and what all these refractive things do to generate the gigantic beam that,
but I wanted to talk about two science facts related to the Behemoth, because we have 2 crazy numbers to throw out to you out there. You may not know this, and I rarely think about it. I think no one has ever thought about it, but there is no printed canonical length for the Behemoth. And if you go out there and look on the internet, you'll find people saying anything from 5 kilometers to 8 kilometers to matching the Dreadnought 22 kilometers. Nobody has ever, there's no printed source that says it's fictionally X meters long.
Mm-hmm.
And Wing Commander 3 has 3 different scales for measurement. So while the capital ships in Wing Commander 3 are scaled to each other and the fighters are scaled to each other, the fighters are not scaled to the capital ships. And the capital ships are not scaled to the large capital ships, which is Black Main Base, the Dreadnought, the Behemoth. So it's very difficult to just compare it to something and see how long it's supposed to be.
Out of curiosity, so Black Main Base is one of those things, but then the Kilrath, asteroid base, does it fall into one of those?
I think it is a larger model.
Okay, because I would say, although I mean, it could be. I could see that being like the same size as the carrier or something. But all right, I was just curious there. Sorry.
So I took out a fighter and I measured both this and the Dreadnought in engine. Very rough measurements. What I did was I flew to one end, I targeted the center, flew to the center, saw how many kilometers that was supposed to be, and then I flew to the end and saw how many kilometers that was supposed to be, added them together. And what I found shocked and disgusted me.
And now we go to commercial break, but be sure to tune back in.
So,
because this is a very big market tease here.
Again, and if you're reading your scanner, it's saying, oh, this is 30,000 kilometers long. That doesn't matter. That's just, the meters and kilometers don't make sense in Wing Commander 3. Everything is scaled to a type of thing rather than the full length, whatever.
Gotcha.
But comparing it to the Dreadnought, by measuring them both in this way, I found that the Dreadnought model is actually shorter than the Behemoth in terms of how. And this is very, very rough because I didn't triangulate or anything like that.
There's not a lot of science in this.
Rough, and it could go a couple of kilometers either way.
Are you reporting news before you've confirmed your sources?
But in engine, the Behemoth is roughly 30 kilometers long.
Oh,
and that's much longer than I think anyone ever thought. So, there you go.
All right.
Ticker tapes go down, and people start.
Yeah, we need the thing when you type happy birthday into a message on somebody, the balloons go up. We need that effect right now going through our things.
This is the...
That's a great shot.
This is the cinematic render, which I threw in here. It's printed from the hint book. This is a background plate. We extracted it from the digital files. But that lets you get some of the incomplete sections close up and see what they were doing. You're supposed to be able to see little lattice works and things, but they aren't in the model.
Sure, yeah.
So that's the most detail you're ever going to get on the Behemoth.
And it's interesting, like we were talking a little bit before the show, too. It looks like in the 3DO version, they took the model and crushed or shrunk it a bit and then added some of their own flair to it to make it look sort of incomplete, but in a little bit different way.
Yeah, and essentially how that works is for the 3DO version, the PC models were too complex.
Okay.
So you could do one of two things. You can take an arrow model and you can remove vertices and just kind of rough it down. Or one thing that was often much easier with these large capital ship models is you just build a new one. So you'd say, okay, it needs to look kind of like this, and that's why especially the largest ships in the 3DO version are built going back to the concept art and building from ground up to something that sort of looks like that.
Okay.
The other Behemoth fact that we wanted to mention was the quote from Admiral Tallman in Wing Commander 3 that it generates a lancing point of 500 million gigawatts, and
sounds like a lot.
Yeah. Is that a lot or is it a little? Because the Wing Commander, the Victory Streak measures things in nanojoules, which it turns out is exactly the opposite you want. It's very, very, very little. But luckily, the United States Department of Energy, wanting to reach out to people and make them think they're cool, has a specific website for explaining the Back to the Future 1.21 gigawatts and what it is. So there's a website you can go to.
1.21 gigawatts?
So essentially, the Behemoth's energy is 450 million time-traveling DeLoreans at once.
Which is a fantastic way to measure things. It's really, like, why don't we just do all science in that and how many DeLoreans it is?
No, but gigawatts is a unit of power, which is a measure of gigajoules per second. So it's
Already lost me.
Yeah. I was never good at physics, but
Yeah,
that is what a gigawatt is.
Okay.
And the Behemoth, as it fires, as best I could do this math,
Okay.
the 500 million gigawatts is about 450,000 times the energy the United States outputs today.
Like every day?
Yeah, like no, any because it's a moment. It's
it's
per
a
second.
moment.
So
Okay.
in any second, yeah,
It's all right.
450,000
times.
So
That's how you. Wow.
maybe that's what you need to destroy a
It's
planet.
America times 450,000.
I did look up some of
That
the
sounds
made-up
right.
Star Wars fiction for the Death Star, which gave it much more energy. So probably they have better fake physicists than we do. But 500 million seems like a lot.
Well, listen, they're
regardless.
an empire, we're a confederation. That's how it works.
And with that, we're going to continue with Wing Commander 3.
Heading to the Loki system.
We are headed to the Loki system after the Norse trickster god, who, of course, everyone in 2020 already knows about.
Yep. And make sure to let us know how the sound is.
Yes.
As always.
We are not competent.
Nope, we are incompetent when it comes to soundboard stuff.
Oh, so many things.
Yeah. Listen, we admit one at a time, so they don't know how many there actually are altogether. And here's a bonus: Ben gets to actually use a controller as opposed to slamming 5,000.
Yes, I
buttons.
get to actually use my fancy joystick here,
Yep.
so that's always a nice change.
Yep.
If
If you were really fancy, we'd be playing the Karate Saga version, and you'd be using your throttle and rudder pedals.
I need a modern set of pedals that would work with it.
Does Thrustmaster have make modern?
They do. I need to get a set.
I live the same ones you have.
So when last we left our heroes,
Yep.
we had just finished the introductory sequence in the Torgo system. We had learned about the Behemoth. We mined some jump points. We captured some Kilrathi tankers, and now it is time to continue. We're going to
Make
test
trouble.
the Behemoth. We're going to test the Behemoth in the Loki system, and this is kind of a false climax of the game. It's this possibility. Oh, maybe the game is over here. So there's a lot of talking, a lot of story in
You
this
got
part.
chewed out by the Admiral himself.
Yeah, well, I guess I should
Rudder pedals actually, I think, are
According to the
a
Admiral,
lot of
sloppy
fun.
dress means sloppy
Especially,
work.
I think,
Well, excuse
in
me
Wing
for not
Commander,
having the
rudder
cleaners
pedals
every time I
really
swap out a
come into
car.
their own in
He sticks
Prophecy.
real close
Yes,
to the red.
yes. When you have the
Vampire, and you just spin around, or even
Loosen the screws on every
a little
moving
bit less
part
with the
belonging
Panther,
because I
but just
can.
being
Yeah,
able
well,
to take
save a
advantage of that.
screwdriver.
it would have been something if we'd had multiplayer.
Oh yeah. I mean, just being able to corkscrew in the Vampire, that was just so awesome.
Yeah,
You can just
yeah.
slam that over. It's one of the great things.
Oh, and by the way, look what we got there. We didn't even point this out, but look what she's working on.
Hey, my favorite.
The Excaliburs have been delivered to the
So you
victory.
should just have one. You should have Vaquero in the berths.
Vaquero in the berths.
Want to buy a ticket, sir?
It always seemed like he was playing me and Julio down by the schoolyard. When his first riff there, it seems like he's going to go into
On
that.
that Bohemian thing, it'll be hasta la vista, los gatos.
It's also weird how you don't always notice he has a ponytail.
And by the way, this Flick and Gump right here are essentially intended as a reward. If you have kept him alive to this point, you get this little reward chat with him, and we'll have the same thing for Flash. The longer you keep Flash alive, you'll get a little reward chat. Because after a point, the pilots do become killable, and we have reached that point.
What, you don't trust me, you jerk? I told you it was only Vaquero.
No, I don't trust you.
Son of a bitch.
Because sometimes stuff happens.
No, I agree. I 100% agree, because you're like, shit.
Oh, someone seems to have usurped.
There's been a change of command.
Yeah, because you're an admiral, you dink.
No disrespect. to
Interesting,
Teddy,
and I say that like it means that.
As we move
Note,
closer
I
to
actually found a
the
bug with Wing Commander 3 that is
I
not
decided
in
to
the
assume
the official
personally.
bug list, the QA bug
I hold
report.
the fate of the Confederation in my
I mean, it's actually This game has some cutscenes that are special.
Let's get
For
down to
instance,
business, shall we?
if you go to the
We are about
losing
to
you
enter
can't possibly
the
win
Loki
Proxima series and
where we'll
Hobbs
test the
dies,
behemoth on Loki
there's a
6,
funeral prepped for him.
home to a small Kilrathi
But
military
what I found
base.
was that if you fly
Loki
these
6 is
these
a
3
mini
missions
planet
and
that
eject,
orbits a quasar.
you still get Eisen chewing
As
you
know,
out,
the
even though
quasar
he's been
forms
relieved
now
of
all
command.
stellar
Interesting.
communication.
No, just a
Well, I
minor
mean,
thing
We'll
that
be unable to call for help.
This is
By the
also just a
time
weird
the
thing too, though. An
Kilrathis
admiral
have
shouldn't
to investigate,
be
we shall be
briefing
pulling up just
a
outside downtown
wing commander
Kilrathi.
on the street. You know, this is something that goes down
Before we
through
can
the air boss.
testify.
he's a very special wing
A
commander.
little house
He, I
cleaning
mean,
is in
he's
order.
you know, I mean, I guess you
On
can.
this
Well,
mission,
for
I'd like you to
Toll, I
sweep
guess it's
out
because he
Loki
was a
6's
pilot to start the
surrounding
war.
weapons.
You know, so
Don't
I
leave
think
any
he
strays
probably-
out there.
At the same
We don't
time,
need
though,
anyone
Admiral
bothering
Mitchell
us when we line up
never
the weapon
briefed
for his
pilots
first
before a
test.
mission.
And one thing we've glossed over in this briefing, Quasar.
Yeah.
This is the first appearance of a Quasar in Wing Commander. This was going to tickle somebody's brain, and then they put the Charybdis Quasar in the Wing Commander movie. But both of them are very odd points because they are not quasars
these
in our
are
galaxy.
communication objectives.
Quasars are distant stellar objects. So
And one last thing.
this should not be here. And again, like
How do you know we didn't discover any here, you jerk?
And maybe the jump to a quasar takes you to another galaxy or something. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I will play one in a couple weeks when we do a jump physics episode, but not a scientist at the moment.
Jump physics episode.
Actually, Allie asked if she could be our jump scientist, so
Oh, well.
that'll be good. Well, Hobbs,
say
he couldn't be a
Hobbs.
traitor.
You're on my wing for this one.
Anyway, quasars, distant radio objects.
Good luck.
What the hell was that? It's out of nowhere. Was that a tick you have or something?
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, great! Thank you so much, guys, for this.
Hey, just so you know, just fly what you want to have fun with.
Yeah,
I hope you took the
nice
arrow.
to show me that Excalibur arriving on the deck, and then arrow or Hellcat by orders of the Admiral. The Quasar is also another one of those elements that was a design element in the Wing Commander 3 script, so that there was this idea that they could implement some cool tech in these missions where it would flash, or you could only fly in some particular area, or that's the Sensor Shadow mission. But I don't think it actually does anything mechanics-wise, and that's an example of how you're kind of locked into something because you have that briefing recorded and it's not going to change in full motion video.
You're gonna love this system, just so you know. You're only two. This is the one I think I always forget about till you get here, and it's like, oh damn it! This is this stack of 3 missions where it's the mid game before they just give you the reward ship and heavy ships for the rest of the game. It's hey, let's remind you of what it was like. So they give you this is just a Hellcat and Arrow system.
Yeah, who is flying those?
That's knocked around. Breaking attack.
Yeah, I got chewed up on my rear.
Who are you? So this is basically Corvettes, Vactoff, Ralphie, and then I'm capped off by some strong. This is the mission that you actually. This is the mission that you really, really, really liked. Oh no, that was the Torgo. Sorry, the Torgo had the stat nav point. These are the nav points.
So, who you have in the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's tough. Part of me thinks like maybe Reed does kind of should win one because he's that guy who's like constantly knocking on the door. He's been to one Super Bowl, which then the Patriots beat. But at the same time, the 49ers are
King Garoppolo, yes.
So I'm undecided on who I want to. I mean, I don't really hate the Chiefs because last year when they went offsides and that's the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But you're this
Yeah, I
is-
accidentally rammed a Vactoff.
Well, I think you were already off to a bad. your armor was armed from you earlier. You're goddamn right you failed your race. Alright, so let's go and see.
How did you get in there first?
Game is a touch loud.
I will
Un
fix that
momento,
in just
por
a moment.
favor. That's from...
What's your status?
I'm happy to report that I've suffered no damage.
Just some commentary. Oh, now you're back against the classic Corvette, where you've been up against the 3DO version, which is much more of just a cakewalk, because
Yeah,
you take out that
this is
Tachyon turret. It's amazing, though, how that one turret makes what probably should have been thought of as kind of, just a grind ship. Instead, to be a ship that can totally change the status of your mission in seconds.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you, Hobbs. Like, it really can't. Like, it's one of those things, because there's very few other
The other
turrets in the
captions
game.
are much easier, and you're rarely put in a position where you have to go against it.
I mean, the only.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing. I feel like the only capture that might be close in terms of ability to dish out damage is the cruiser, because it has that.
This is yellow gun.
Yeah, it has all those anti-matter guns kind of spread out along the length of the ship. But yeah, nothing compares to the other. You're grinding well, my friend. This is your droppy grind, but then really starts.
And love Picard also. I guess we should follow up from last week. That was a fantastic pilot. I'm really excited to see more of it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
Listen to that sound design when they hit my armor. That's scary.
I can't.
I
But yeah, no, there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing that knock sound. Where you're like, oh, okay, this is bad.
Yeah, this is real bad. It was the knock.
Yeah. That's the one who knocks.
Incredible Foley work on it.
Yeah, that's that the armor sound in any of the games is one of those ones, but this one does have a great one. It's got a depth to it. You're like, oh, okay, like I hear that. That's right outside the window.
The Armada is. Oh, I hate this, but this is. Oh, I'm dying.
That's true. Yeah. But I know it's just watching you actually look through those drones. There's like in this game, I think the Dralthy are the most satisfying fighter to destroy.
Yeah, they are.
There's something just like I don't know, like sure the Vactron the heavy, but there's something just like gratifying. You're launching missiles at the back. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to be your side.
Try again.
And in other news, Colonel Lessig gets his. I don't think it's the most satisfying in every game, but there's something in this one I find it the most fun.
Break and attack.
I think in this game, Hot Toms are one of the least favorite. And it's all about that tempo return. Because the Vactron's turret's not bad.
That is true. I've always felt that the scale seemed a little bit wrong for the heavier fighters. The Pactan, even the Vactoth, all seem a little bit small. Especially the Sorthak. I think we've talked about that
Yeah,
before.
it looks super small. Well, I was saying because the Dralthy just has the giant wings, make it seem like it seems the right size for itself. But yeah, you expect these to be a little bit bigger and have a bit more mass to them. They don't seem to carry that.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually trying to think like the most satisfying ship in each game to destroy.
Jalti's up there in Wing Commander 1.
I'm
Wing
trying to
Commander
think
1
of-
ships are very satisfying to destroy in general.
I was thinking because I was like, I kind of like the Jalti though. At the same time, there's something about that just letting go. Wing Commander 2.
2, it's less satisfying in general.
I just feel like when you kill Jalti, just knowing there's one less out there is satisfying. But yeah, you're right.
Jalti are very satisfying. I mean, I think I'll say Krant is least satisfying. You feel good about yourself when you down a Hariss, too.
Yeah. You know, I was just thinking Jalti.
Oh, Jalti. Yeah.
I mean, those are just those. That's what I mean by
They're
that.
beefy clunkers.
Yeah, but that's just it's not satisfying. It's just like you're just happy to have one less out there, but it's not as satisfying. Wing Commander 4. Sticks out to me. Maybe is like, yes, you're dead.
I have dispatched
But you're gonna get
Attack my target.
Prophecy is probably Lamprey. Is getting rid of the goddamn things. Something I never thought about. Yeah, but there's I would say the most satisfying ship to destroy in the series. Just something about that death spin.
Second Corvette, but Hobbs got it.
Alright, good. So now you just have 12, 16. You just have 20 fighters left to kill.
Oh, is that all?
Drawl thieves. So 6 Drawl thieves, 6 Black Cloud, 4 Dark Cats, 4 Scrum. Which appeared, I think these seem about right for this. They don't seem too off.
Maybe I should have flown that Hellcat.
Well, you can try next mission where it's Octons, Corvettes, and Strakas.
Break and attack.
enemy now.
Yeah, so right when you get there, then boom, like that's
That's very satisfying.
yeah, you're like, I've done my good.
Oh.
Because they are only dangerous when you got a bunch of them.
That was actually Hobbs chewing me up.
Oh, really?
Any questions out there from the audience?
No, people should Tarsi said maybe I should have quotes you, saying 20. Maybe I should have flown a Hellcat. Yeah, not something you hear too often.
Yeah, very rare to.
You know, but this really is these two series, Torgo and this, are kind of just these mid-game breather plot movement series where they don't throw too much action. Like, these are tough but not
Tough but fair.
Yeah, I mean they're not horrific missions, but they're definitely pushing it. You were being very greedy there. I was surprised you
What
didn't
is
bank
hitting
away.
me?
Probably the enemies, because you were flying in a straight line for so damn long. I mean, that was my thing. I was like, wow, he is not breaking away, despite the fact his screen is flashing over and over again.
I have dispatched an enemy. That's what cat.
What? There weren't any guys left.
Oh yeah, you must have taken a random missile. I don't even know what the hell. No, you know what that was?
What?
Hobbs. It must have been Hobbs. Because it wasn't a missile either, because I didn't see the yellow dot. So Hobbs must have just rammed you.
You guys just fired missiles in the victory.
All right. Well,
I wanted to try the last nav point first this time.
The old trick. You may have fired something at the Victory. I did see flashes of some kind, but I'm not clear.
And that was me running into a Vector. It's not a good night. It's not a good night.
Okay, so this one, I was like, no, this won't be that long. And you're like, no, I'm gonna make sure it's a lot going because I'm just gonna tank this first mission over and over.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
Breaking attack.
There's an enemy now.
Okay, so this one should be
Dispatched an enemy.
back top, dark cut scratches. Oh, did they just? Oh no, they clipped you to it.
Yeah.
Clipped you to it. And we were moving. We're moving along. I say we were already at under an hour. The afterburner, we blasted right through
We're
it.
doing well. Well, it's going to be a long one.
It's a long way to Richmond. But yes, if chat has any questions for us, we have a fairly large audience this evening. So
yeah.
if anyone would like to help us fill this time as we do the play-by-play here. Now, this is interesting. What you just did with the nav,
Yeah.
where it had the target like that, I've never noticed that before.
Oh, yeah, you can target whatever's at the nav point at the...
Get the funk out of here. Holy shit. No shit.
Yeah, in fact, you can see the...
I've done that, I've done the rotation, but I've never done the targeting. No shit.
Yeah.
I did not know it gave you a little thing there. That's crazy, man. You learn something new even 20-something years later. 30 years later. No questions.
No questions.
No questions at the moment. Oh, we forgot to change the sound.
Oh, fudge. Well, I'm probably not going to live that long. So how about that Mr. Peanut, huh?
I'm sorry, what you're talking about never happened. We've undone that. We've unrolled.
You're talking about a promotional peanut campaign that never existed.
You're talking about an assassination. Yeah, I imagine they're gonna try to the Chiefs will bring in a lot of Midwest to kind of viewers, but it's not. You're not getting. San Francisco's a decent market. Although the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl in 50 years, so it's kind of. But then there's. Tractor and ejected pilots for interrogation.
Not in Wing Commander 3. You can take them as slaves in Privateer. Actually, I don't think there's a tractor mechanic at all in Wing Commander 3, is there? You can take in ejected pilots in Wing Commander 2, but it never...
No, I think it's just 4.
But you can do it in 2, but it doesn't matter unless it happens to be the mission objective.
I mean, although if we're talking about this in the universe, like, we can assume that yes, they would. Although, from what we've learned about Iraqi Sets of Honor, it probably would be tractor and a dead guy.
Well, we probably wouldn't do it in a light fighter anyway, since great stuff.
Yeah, I told you, Strock.
I know you don't want to Strock.
I'm trying to be here being your talking. I'm the Robert Duvall to your Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder Man. Talking to you.
Yep, that's the Tom Cruise pilot movie, so that's where an analogy from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Top Gun is really not that scene. Although, how goofy was that? Was it yesterday? They were announcing slowly on Facebook and online the names of the different pilots in New Top Gun.
I didn't see
There
that
are some
one.
actually. Oh, you know what? This is gonna. I hate. Well, guess what? You're doing a segment on it because I believe there are some little there.
Sighted enemy craft, Colonel.
Break and attack.
Engage an enemy now.
On this episode of Done It All reads about Done It All reads about Top Gun.
We have Hangman. Interesting. Well, actually, you know what threw me? To be honestly, what just threw me off there was the fact that if you remember in the original Top Gun, Sundown is one of the Rios that Maverick flies with after Blue Skies, and they've cast a different actor to play Rear Admiral Sundown, and that threw me through a loop there for a second. I wasn't prepared to see that. But we have Payback, Fanboy.
Have they said how they're doing the? I mean, is just no reference to the lady, or?
Oh, I don't know if they. Yeah, I don't know how they handle. What's her name?
Gonna let Hobbs handle that Corvette.
Probably smart. Charlotte Blackwood. Yeah, no, probably not.
It's just sad to think that she and Top Gun didn't stay together. We're asking the tough questions tonight.
I'm not gonna lie, normally I wouldn't care, but I am curious. Kenny Loggins is still alive. 72 years old. He's alright. Don't nobody worry about him.
That's good.
Yeah. That was me integrating one of his musical numbers from Caddyshack.
Colonel.
Making our way through.
Ooh, I shouldn't have looked at that.
What? Oh, Jesus Christ. You are doing very, 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 very...
Not our best night.
The arrow is not your friend this evening.
No. I've been playing too much 3DO. I was playing the 3DO version all afternoon, playing with extracting graphics.
Yeah. Oh, trying to pull some models out.
Yeah, trying to get the models out. I haven't had any luck yet, but I did get the textures.
Oh, that's cool. That's great to know.
I helped. It didn't help.
We may, down the line, yeah, we will probably look into the mods at certain points. There's a question about if we look into Unknown Enemy Standoff Saga. We'll dip into those after we've probably tapped through all the other stuff and just... Despite the amount of stuff we've covered, I feel like we still have very much ahead of us as opposed to behind on this.
Oh yeah, there's endless Wing Commander to talk about.
I mean, even as we play through the series in a very ridiculous order for us. When we get to Prophecy, should we use the model update or just play through with the...
I think we play through the original, but we will also certainly show off the model update because it's extremely good.
Yeah. Are you gonna? Well, I would say we do the basic, but instead that we do what's it called? The baseline to play it today. Use all the better movies and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll do the DVD version because
Yeah.
that's a story in and of itself. How we rescued a version of Wing Commander Prophecy that was thought lost to the ages. And it is now the common retail release.
Victory.
Yeah, we'll probably dip into when we'll use that, but we'll probably just start with what
Break and attack.
I mean, what's been basically the baseline model.
Yeah, something familiar.
Yeah, the one that the CIC. It's basically the recommended way to play, if you will. Yeah, because we're excited to jump into that.
Objectives accomplished.
Because we figured out we have about 10 episodes of Wing Commander 3 left.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, and then we have, I know we wanted to do the Armada campaign at some point, but I don't know what our next main game's going to be.
Yeah, maybe we'll put up a poll.
That's a good idea. So far we've done...
That was a rough one, guys, but we made
That
it.
was... Yeah, you probably took about 20-something minutes to go through that one, not gonna lie.
Look at the...
Actually, no, maybe like 15, sorry. Yeah, and you have nothing left. Yeah, show your... Show your...
Smooth sailing for the Big B, Colonel. You're cleared
The
to
Big
land.
B. The big old B. And then, look at that. Look at that. Your left side is the
It's like I favor my left side.
Will we do... Wing Commander 4, we do all branches? Yeah, I think we'd probably do...
At least
both
Cersei and Sparadon, for sure.
Yeah, definitely... I would definitely say we would do the different splits of those at times, certainly.
Now that we're back at the carrier, I'm going to remember to turn the volume down.
Turn the volume down, save the game, yep.
Yeah, save the game, turn the volume down.
Pretty slick flying, sir.
Thanks, Chief.
Now, we say this series is 3 missions, but really it's 2. Mm-hmm. So that third mission is...
Yeah, it's very, very quick. It's the
story mission.
Yeah, it's the taunting mission of Threat, yes.
I like that our save games are roughly following over the previous set of save games I had in there. Well, let us turn down that audio just a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, so you're that one. All right, we'll test. Yeah, I'd say that's. I think let's try that.
Try that level and let us
you're
know.
At what? Yeah, we're at. It's a bit like 10 below or so, like 12 below or the other thing. I don't know what those numbers mean, but I'm just saying them. Like, screw it. Like, whatever. All right.
Still, you're the best sound engineer I've ever met.
Thank you. If I was if I was like a good co-host, I'd actually have my headset plugged in, but then I'd be listening to like 10 seconds in the past, and that'd be infuriating.
Yeah, I need to get you a monitor mic.
Put a steamroller another career. I told the captain to look out, but would he listen?
Yeah, this week that we use, or we get a split.
Yeah, I gotta get one of those for you.
I might even
or just USB.
He's had it out for me ever since.
No, I don't know if I still have my. I have a shit. I had a.
Took care of that for you.
I'll take care.
That's what you think.
That's what you think.
Everybody knows about the ring.
Hey, Tolman specifically chose him to be the leader of the blue team or red team, whichever one it was in the Academy pilot. So he knew for that long.
We'll be talking about how Tolan feels under pressure though when his favorite pilot is in some trouble.
Yeah. No news briefing. He was like, "Oh, where's the news briefing?" No.
Our executive producer says, "How does it sound in your headphones?"
It doesn't impact the sound of my headphones.
It does not impact the sound of so nothing. So when you click up and down as new shit, it just affects you.
When I change the levels in
Soon, I can tell you that.
OBS, it doesn't change my level in the headset.
Okay.
I'd blast planet after planet if it would rid the galaxy of Kiorathi. There's no justification for their existence.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, they also said when we play with Commander 4 and stuff, like you have a live poll to decide: do we do Cersei or Spur?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. And then we can just go back and do like a last show like other branches episode.
You know what Wing Commander 4 I want to play is? I want to be mean to... I want to be a dick to the veteran at the start.
Okay.
I have never played that version of the game. It changes the mission in the Pasquale... Or not Pasquale, in the Jammer series, the Peleus Jammer series.
I've done that once. I've been the ass to him to get that one.
But I've never actually played that mission because I've never been asked him.
Yeah, no, you got it. Yep, I've done that before. Cause back in the day, I tried to do all the variations, but yep. It's tough to do.
We'll do the Wing Commander 4 jerk run. Mm-hmm. Stay with Confed. Get weapons.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, be the biggest ass you can. Yeah, that's hilarious. There you go. That'd be a good one.
Why can we have such a long cutscene with Cobra right here? Because she's not killable. Since she has a fate in the plot, they can put a bunch of story on her shoulder right now. They can't go to Vaquero or Flash or somebody who no longer matters to the game.
Dick.
Oh, we've got Eisen and Tallwin.
Who do you talk to first? Yeah, this is actually a busy one. You have Maniac. Yeah, you have 4 people. This is one of probably the busiest hot point in the whole game. Having a 4? I don't think at that point you have 4. Yeah, let Cat Scratch die.
yeah.
That's a real a-hole way.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
It has no impact on anything.
What is being the dick at every point?
I've never had an organic end cutscene where it's the Admiral. So
okay. Oh really?
Yeah, never.
Interesting. It is tough though when you try to do those. You know, that's like like playing standoff to do they're great losing series, but you're like, I really don't want to lose. Or like even in this, when we went to see the asteroid base, it was like, this kind of hurts.
I have every single Command & Conquer I've ever played. I have replayed the first level 700 times to get through it without losing a guy.
Okay.
Once the game gets in earnest, and there's no way to stop that, you stop doing that. But it's just a tick in my brain. That first level.
Yeah, whenever you said that, I was like, all I picture is the gunship driving by, shooting the turrets. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the remaster. So what they've done so far is great. I'm looking forward. I do hope though that they do make some type of improvement to like harvesting AI. Like at least give it like some smart and like don't let it be a giant jackass.
Great scene right here now as far as both of these two acting. That just reminds me so much of the line in Generations, like, don't let them promote you. Don't let them do anything that takes you off of that bridge.
Oh, yeah. It's actually a very common real-world naval trope, too. You find a lot of commanders are like that when they,
Well, this is a simple one, Colonel.
Simple one, Colonel. Just prepare to get your face smashed in by Poctons, Corvettes, Stractos, and Poctons.
Did you say Stracktails?
Woo! Stractails will be coming out later, very shortly on Book Club, actually.
So note that we're actually testing the Behemoth right now. Folks, we're talking about the novel later.
Yeah.
We're actually going to fire it if we win this mission.
Yeah. Yes, which we will bleep, 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 bleep. I can talk about later.
I don't like what that implies.
Good luck.
That's true. Maniac? Look at you. What are you, psycho?
Because he'll just do the job himself. I don't have to worry about him.
You lazy son of a bitch.
Well, I noticed that last nap point after I killed like 5 Drolthi, it was like, oh, I forgot Hobbs at this very last point. And then I got to thinking, maybe it's freeing Hobbs that was what was getting me in trouble.
Oh, okay.
And with the Hellcat this time.
Let's check in. No.
Just a good DNA test. I'm 100% Hellcat 5.
Not a big fan. It's party time.
It does seem to be party time. Oh, the victory's under attack. Yeah. A victory under attack non-scramble. That's interesting.
Yep.
Break and attack.
Well, that's what's even funnier because this entire mission takes place at the victory. If I remember correctly, this is.
Yep, surprised it's not a scramble.
Nope. It's more just like they're. I mean, I guess it's just like a
Gramble?
Like a
Gramble?
A Mirander? It's just a Mirander to your fighters? Pilots Miranda to your fighters.
I'm a Miranda.
There we go.
No, I'm a Charlotte.
You already have a Charlotte in front of you. You can't have two. Listen, do you think in combat you can just itch your damn nose and not die? You think you just pull crap like that off and think it's A-okay to do that? Do enjoy the paint scheme on the Procton. Hate that mass dragon turret, though. It can shove itself right up its nose.
Yeah, that's already killing me.
Yeah, it's really... And it's not... On this one, it's not the place. It's just it's the rate of fire that grinds you. Because really only it takes about, what, 3 shots and your shields are done. And then after that, you're really playing with death. You know?
Oh, cutscene!
That's a great one. Watching the victory, though, move.
Yeah.
Move like that, although it is a weird place for it to move. Great laser beaming.
I mean, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Chris Roberts, 1994, blows up a planet better than George Lucas, 1977.
But there's no shockwave.
I will not apologize.
Where's the shockwave?
What's your status?
Well, there you go. And just like that, we've taken one planet out of the galaxy. Which we'll debate later on.
What the name of the planet is. Yeah.
After all wings considered. All these other wings considered. I don't even know what joke.
What you're talking about. Where you're
this
going
joke really, we've already made the joke with the name of the show to begin with. We got nothing else to do. Although if you'd like to take me into your living room and then yell at me and tell me I can't point out Vukertag on a map, I mean, we can do that too.
It's in the Vukertag quadrant.
For the record, Vukertag is not Kilraw. And there we go. And hopefully the 3 of you got that joke and appreciated it with us. Otherwise, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, Billy Joe Kane says, screw the shockwave. So there you go. Apparently I've been told.
Billy Kane's here?
Yes.
That's awesome. Hi, Billy.
He jumped in right as we were blowing up planets. So
nice.
Why not? You gotta have something. Here we go.
I hate Corvettes so much.
I know. This is one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to talk too much just to allow you to. And this one's also a real fast mover. That one looks like it's cruising.
If folks out there don't know Billy, he was a producer and I think designer on Wing Commander Prophecy. He basically is the guy who kept that project together. And he has been so incredible to the Wing Commander fan community over the years. He's shared so much of his history and knowledge and old documents and things. A lot of this.
Don't die. What are you doing? I know you're talking, but don't die. Don't die.
Okay,
what are you
try
doing?
Not to die.
What are you doing? You're sitting there futzing around. I'm like,
get excited.
You took your hand on the joystick. Like, what? He's gonna get shot in the ass now, and all of a sudden it's gonna be, oh crap. Anyways, but yeah. So yes. But yeah, you missed earlier. We were talking about but yeah. Hey, there we go. This is the skinnier behemoth model, as we've discovered. It does look like the one in 3DO was kind of built a little bit faster. Hey. It's nothing like that, though. You turn in and just have suddenly your entire view screen. Yeah, it gives you.
And if you were playing this in 1994, your computer goes to 3 frames per minute.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man, why don't you just rock and roll already? So.
I'm surprised.
Why did he form on my wing?
I'm surprised you just don't have that as like an impulse stroke. Like I feel like muscle memory just does that.
I'm surprised I don't have a stroke when I'm with you a lot too. Ba-bum ching.
That's true. Yeah, that is very true.
Oops.
And then it's really dangerous because I'm with you a lot. So. Oh, Straka. They're not so much satisfying because they're so paper thin.
Yeah.
They're just annoying where you're like, alright, how many of these damn things I got left?
But you kind of have this fun sense that...
yeah, they're special kills, but it's not it's killing them is just like you're like, okay, whatever, we'll get to, like, sure, because it's 3 rounds or whatever. Because their armor is nothing. Calling on the Poctons. So you should have 2 of these, and then all we have left is for someone to taunt you that can take girlfriend.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I got one more mission after that. That's not this mission, right? That's the next mission.
No, that's the next one. Yeah, so I'm saying after
Yeah.
this, after these 2 Poctons, that's what you have, though.
Mission objective.
Oh, here we go. A little cruiser.
All right, we got that one in one. So
yeah, there we go.
Not as embarrassing as earlier.
Oh. And here's our slightly different behemoth. With the victory, though, good to 60,000.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's far away. So.
Yep.
Billy, if you're still out there, you should come on the show sometime. We can do like a Skype call or something.
We would just, that or Discord.
That'd be cool.
I feel like Discord voice would probably be our safest way to, like a private Discord channel or something.
Yeah, I'm sure the way
Since
to do
we
it.
broke, since Skype, I feel like we exploded things.
Professional outfit like us. No time.
Didn't we try to do that with poor Chris and it just
Said
exploded?
as I ran out of afterburners. Yeah.
Really? Jesus, man, can't take you anywhere. He would love to do that. Well, we'll talk to you about that because we're good at. Yeah, I feel like Discord.
We'll just figure out the tech, but
I think Discord is probably the nicest way to do it.
Teenagers do it, so obviously we can figure it out.
Listen, I don't know about that. Do you need it? Yeah.
What's your status?
No damage yet, Colonel.
No damage yet, Colonel.
Yeah, we're voice for that one.
Yeah, who is the behemoth? Because it's a unique voice, right? Because it's not the same as the Transports or anything else.
It's not.
It's a unique one, so it's some British actor.
I was thinking vaguely Asian.
Really?
Yeah.
Do it again.
You want to listen to
No, I can hear it through.
Okay, this is...
What's your status?
No damage yet, Colonel.
I mean, okay, I could give you, like...
We're friends!
Like... Maybe, like, okay, like Hong Kong or something. It sounds, but I feel like I hear, like a British... like, accent on it. Maybe I hear them on, I keep hearing Kojo Namdi all the time on the radio now. And I'm like, He goes, Kojo Namdi. Kojo Namdi. No, I've already done my contractually obligated 1 song of the year for All Weeks Considered, so I will not be singing any Cobalt 60. Our contract very specifically stipulate item 1 song per year.
And it occurs to me, and it occurred to me a couple days ago, and I've been looking into it since then.
Yep. Martin Galloway is what Billy says. He says, no damage here is Martin Galloway.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can see that. Absolutely.
All right. Is he Asian?
No, he's not Asian.
All right, then. Is he British, I hope?
British. Yeah! Okay, you're absolutely right.
Chalk up 1 for the good guys. Sometimes I win one. Very rarely, but sometimes I do. All right. Thank you, Billy, for being here to do that. All right, let's go see if your girlfriend's dead. You just have Hobbs upstairs.
Still checking.
Yeah, I know. Listen. Son of a bitch. Yes, he's one of Chris's best friends back in the day.
Yes.
Since I have been this near to
And very famous for audio stuff with the early like Commodore type C64 music sound stuff. There's like a separate Martin Galway fandom that's separate from Origin fandom.
Okay.
Stuff with Ocean and whatever.
Well, isn't that nice? Look at you. Yeah, it sounds like an Asian guy. Sure.
Not a okay. But once I heard the name, like, absolutely yes, I see it.
Because to me, it always sounded like a British guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're better at hearing than I am.
Thank you, sir. What? We have a lot of fun here. He did things that weren't supposed to be done, Billy says. All right, then.
Yeah. All right, let's get this last briefing in.
Here we go. Yep, then we're going to jump into the club.
This is it, Colonel. I've been waiting 10
years for this. You'd think you've had a lot of other things happen to you in the last few years. Also, again, he does seem to be rather of low rank to be in charge of such a project.
It's true throughout his career, though.
Yeah. I mean, here...
It's politics, man.
I mean, right here, they're showing him as what? Like, we're taking him as a 2-star? Or what is he, a full admiral at this point, or is he vice?
I mean, I think in the context of just Wing Commander 3 as a narrative, he's the only admiral. He's super admiral.
Yeah.
It's the books that are like, actually, he's the 7th in line, and so.
Well, I feel fleet action guts it. So I mean, he would.
Flash, you're gonna be my wingman.
I mean, at the same time that you figure Confed must have a ridiculous flag
Dismissed.
rank, you know.
And good luck.
But yeah, he does. Because I think, isn't he he's a rear admiral in fleet action and then a vice?
He's still a rear admiral. It goes back and forth. You know, producer, note that one. We'll talk about Tallwin's rank in a future.
Let me put that.
Why am I thinking about my armor? Okay.
I'll put that here.
This is a story mission. There's pretty much no gameplay. Stuff is just going to happen. But it will seem like there's gameplay, which will lead to all sorts of Usenet posts and calls to Origin customer support wondering how you save the behemoth. It's not possible. There's no way to save the behemoth.
I will fully, as a kid, I remember getting to this mission and losing the behemoth and replaying it at least 10 to 15 times.
Same, and that meant something back then because it took 5 to 10 minutes to load each mission.
And I wish I remembered what it was. I mean, I can make a very good guess, but like I wish I remembered specifically what it was that made me move along. Part of me wants to say I'm gonna give it a 68% chance it was Channel Wing Commander on Dalnet that told me to move along, or the other percent I'm gonna give to some random other old Wing Commander site or something. Or maybe Usenet, but I can't recall what made me move along. So I don't think I had a strategy guide or anything to look up. And there wasn't there wasn't any mission guides online at the time.
Origin's official message board.
No, I don't think it was.
Chat with your buddies in the Aces Club.
That's what makes me think it was Dalnet. But I don't think I was on Dalnet then. Actually, no, I definitely was. Because I was on Dalnet even before. I was in Channel Wing Commander before I even owned a Wing Commander game.
That was one of the great things about IRC is you'd have this mixing of worlds where people who had no idea why they were there would be there, and you just get to be friends. Oh no!
Oh no! Dude, you played over
again.
Wow, you're acting on that? You really sold that.
I am a professional.
Like my heart dropped for a second there, feeling the real emotion. Jesus.
The amazing thing to me is that there was not then a 5-minute load time between those. That's still astounding. Oh, and look here. Here's Prince Thrakath's...
Oh, hey, the Blood Fang.
Yeah.
Hey. He's failed. Yeah, hey, what's up? He's calling out your... Oh, hey, what's up? Look at this. Look at that.
That's
cool.
Great. Oh, and that logo.
I love, the logo in several places. Yep. It's a great... Wing Commander 3 does a great job using just a little bit of color on the blade edges to make the fighters pop.
You bore me, monsieur.
Disintegrate me so I may join my comrades.
And again, if you're doing book club later, remember this order of narrative here, because it's very different in the novel.
Yes.
The human cannot appreciate the honor that I am about to bestow her. She is not only a great warrior, but her lairmate.
That's right.
Is the heart of the tiger.
And what does lairmate mean? Are they married in Kilrathi eyes? Is like a casual friends with benefits thing? Like what is their relationship as lairmates?
You know what happens with a cat out at night? You never know what happens. 3D. So 3D tool we made to create those ships was called EOR, originally written and maintained by Paul Isaacs to make those models.
Interesting.
Oh, he's like, yeah, what's up? Just ripped your guts out. Yeah.
And of course, this was
shocking.
Quite a shock at the time. When
as casual as we were taking it today. Oh, you better go kill him. Hurry, you better shoot all your missiles at him right now, and you'll immediately end the game and win the war. Hurry, go do it. Go do it.
Not gonna do it.
Somebody knows, apparently, that's not what happened. Although that was one of the best rumors back in the day.
There was some way to do it.
Eeyore, he says, is how you pronounce that. EOR. Eeyore. You could move every vert and then apply textures. Ah, okay. He has no idea what it stood for, though. Electronic optical renderer?
Object, maybe?
There you go. Electronic object renderer? I mean, who knows? That's great, though. That's good to know. Those are the cool facts we bring you on this program.
Colonel, if you don't turn around and land now, you'll...
Dude, I'm telling you, if you just shoot him with a full missile salvo right now and kill him immediately, it will immediately go to the end credits of the game and you'll win the war. I heard this from a friend of a friend who read it on Usenet.
Oh, but interesting here, you can see, if I look at the nav map, there's a Kilrathi destroyer over 100,000 kilometers away.
Yeah, where the hell was that?
It must be something that keeps the mission working.
Okay, like they put it out
keeps
there.
Keeps me from going away or something. There must be some reason there's a...
Okay, because I saw when you were doing that before, it didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't remember ever seeing that.
It's not a visual range.
Yeah, you can't...
20,000 kilometers or meters.
And here
space units.
Jumping out without that behemoth, which you blew up!
The Alcor system. I believe Alcor is now a life extension company. They're the people in like New Mexico who freeze...
your head?
Yeah, your head, or you can do the whole body if you pay them enough.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, you just freeze your head. I don't foresee that really working out.
I think
I like how you're about to put them right back on.
Am I?
For book club.
Okay, well, we've got a
cargo bay. Okay.
Cargo bay before book club.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, you really killed that mission just to make. We would have been like an hour and a half if you didn't. You led that first mission on purpose, huh? Son of a bitch. A leaky. Seriously, that's like not a light accusation to toss around. Like, by the way, you have a spy. Like, there should be a formal inquiry. Like, there should be some more.
But so much gravitas from Malcolm McDowell, just up there with his Lunchables ads. Yeah.
Fight well, Captain.
Oh man,
the struggle will only get harder.
And that's the last time we see Malcolm McDowell other than in a single shot at the ending. So
struggle will get hard. Yeah, no shit. You just literally lost like the super weapon.
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, they shot down the Enola Gay. It's the only atomic bomb we have. Like, really? At the same time, his head should be on a platter.
No, there is another. His head is. He's going to court martial.
Yeah.
We'll learn in the novel.
Yeah.
Those colors.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for Wing Commander 3 for this week. Next week we're going to be playing the 3DO version of that.
Which should be interesting to see the changes they do.
It should indeed.
I'm curious to see how they change it, because it's funny, the different, and they make, because it's almost sometimes you're like, wow, this would be a great PC mission. I mean, again, the greatest will always be the unbridled pure excitement we had at the first victory scramble with all the destroyers, where I'm not sure there's ever a moment on the show where you and I were happier than being like,
exciting.
This is the craziest, funnest thing I've ever seen. But all right, let's go
head
to
over to the cargo bay. See what
it's been a while. It's been a while.
I haven't been good about saving money, but I bought some dumb stuff this time. Here's the car.
Shoop. Whoosh. I love how our things are never in sync and never at the same time.
And I'm going to do this one because Billy may appreciate this.
Hey, man. What's this, bro?
Here we have...
Hey, we have the big screen for a reason.
The big screen for a reason. Okay.
We do this every damn show.
This is a Wing Commander Prophecy development team T-shirt.
Hey.
It's a cool tie-dye with the ship logo, and then on the back it's got the...
Here we go on the back.
The same as that patch. And I think folks have seen some of these before. I know a couple of folks who worked in the game have sold them.
This says, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Chris Reed actually owns Billy's one that they did an eBay auction for charity.
He said building that on 3DO was a nightmare. I'm not sure which part, though. I forget what it was.
What's that?
Building that on the 3DO was a nightmare.
I can imagine. It's crazy how much of it is there on the 3DO.
Yeah.
I'd love to know more, because supposedly they did some work on the Wing 4 3DO.
I'm not sure if this was if it was Wing 3, but I remember that one of the 3DO dev kits caught on fire. All right. Well, there's
a good image.
Well, shit. That's bad. Nobody likes fire in that situation. But yes. All right. But anyway, so the shirt.
This came to us in a weird way. it showed up in an Instagram account that sells vintage T-shirts.
Yep.
So it's somebody who goes through like Goodwill and finds cool shirts and then sells them to people like me for way too much money.
Okay.
So somehow a Wing Commander Prophecy Development Team T-shirt made it to thrift store in San Diego. So there's a story there somewhere. I suspect if we work hard enough, we can figure out whose shirt that was.
Okay.
And if they want it back, we can give it to them.
I'll just make a note. All right. There could be maybe more than 50 of those made, Billy says. Yeah. What do we got here?
It's a 3X too, which I guess
it's a triple X.
Down, so.
Yeah, triple XL.
This is a silly one, but I bought this on eBay for $2 because I thought it was neat that it had a Blockbuster label. This is a Secret Missions manual that survived being a rental for however many years.
I'm not gonna lie, this thing is... It's at that state between being well-loved and about to disintegrate.
Did you ever rent a game from Blockbuster that even still had the manual? Usually it was like that printout that was like a piece of paper.
I can't... Well, no, so where I lived in New Hampshire, we didn't have Blockbusters.
Oh.
It was all local, okay. Like we had small local video stores instead. And yes, as you pointed out on Discord...
some owner in whatever his chain of history wrote down all their passwords, so... It's Phoenix. Phoenix was the pilot's name. Mm-hmm. And he made it through the game. I loaded up his last code, and he had like 198 kills. Mm-hmm. So, good job, Phoenix.
I don't want to open it too much. The staples are gone, but it's holding itself together by pure physics and science.
And that's another one where you just wonder, is that guy still out there? It came from Kentucky. Yep. So... If there's somebody who used to own a former rental copy of Secret Missions from Kentucky who flew with the call sign Phoenix, we've got your manual.
we've got your codes. What is this?
This is our last thing.
I like how you're looking around like you thought something was out in the room, and I'm looking at the giant white box.
This comes to us courtesy of Dennis Moll, who found the eBay listing for it, and a British computer museum that was selling them out. It's labeled Philips 3 title pack.
Here's the exciting back of it.
And this is a package of OEM software that would have shipped with a computer or a CD-ROM kit. Like a computer shop in England would have had this, and you would have bought the multimedia kit that came with speakers and a sound card and whatever, and this pack of 3 CD-ROMs.
Okay.
And I'm going to open it up.
We're going to open it live.
We're going to unseal this thing live.
I'm going to let you
We're going to be careful to preserve the contents, but... I think there's no sense in leaving this one
for history.
No sense in leaving it sealed.
Yeah, thank you, Billy. It is beautiful art. You're right. Somebody put a lot of time in creating the cover art for this box.
You can make your own.
Sure. And here we are. Look at this. Yep, breaking that seal. You are doing that in the most clean, proper way I've ever seen a human do that.
Well, I opened a lot of video game boxes from the 90s.
I just ripped that shit open. I don't care.
Are you a professional archivist?
No. Yeah, but you know what? I don't.
It's an old style clamshell box.
Hold on. What's it smell like?
Oh.
Wing Commander.
Does that 90s smell? It's not quite that 90s. Like
I like how there's now a picture of the two of us smelling a box.
I'm not touching that one. We're friends.
All right, what we got?
So it doesn't have that Star Pack smell. There's a very specific Origin in 1994 smell.
Moving on from the smell.
We have right up here front the
Ultima Wing Commander pack.
The Ultima Wing Commander pack. This was made by Mindscape, also known as Software Toolworks, way back in
Family Show.
Software Tool. Way back in 1991, they licensed a couple of Origin games to put out the first CD-ROM versions. Wing Commander 1 Deluxe, Wing Commander 1 Ultima 6, and then Ultima 1 through 6. And by the terms of their license, they got to put these games out in all sorts of OEM configurations, including this right here.
Okay, what else we got?
We also have Timetable of History.
Timetable of History, Science and Innovation. This seems like a kind of odd title of garbage.
That is the second of our OEM, of our 3 title packages.
Garbage.
And we have always necessary for a 90s multimedia package.
Oh.
The World Atlas.
This is how we can find Ukraine on the map, is because of this. Thank you. Well, this pack
Then
seems
that
kind of
one
sucky. You get 2 games and you get this crap?
Well, we also have a warning, do not open, which seems to have a floppy disk in it.
Oh, shit. Oh, let's do it.
We should.
Hold on. Let's make sure. Hold on. Make sure we see. We gotta show them the label first, though. Warning. Do not open. Read end user license. Did you read the end user license?
Wait, here, check out this playing the game warning for Wing Commander 1.
Okay. You'll be presented with a menu offering a choice of Wing Commander and Ultima 6. When you play Wing Commander or Ultima 6, for the first time you ask some additional questions regarding your system. Answer these questions referring back to your Philips Systems documentation. Wing Commander and Ultima 6 are very complex games, which require a large amount of free memory, RAM.
Here it is.
What do we got?
It is a special boot disc for Wing Commander.
Oh! Shit, if I had kept reading, I would have gotten there eventually.
I am glad we opened that. We will image this and put it on internet.
What treasures could it hold?
I don't know. It's a boot slash install disc from Mindscape.
What tricks could it have for loading? I mean, make sure it's back in. You gotta keep that in the envelope. Don't be letting that fly around.
Computer historians need to know.
I like how they're very complex games. So if you're an idiot, here's the boot disc right here. This tells you to insert the boot, but your computer should be off. That's a weird thing to say.
Well, that was PCs back in the day. You remember all those things. Yep. Your computer will catch fire if you.
Is it a black orchid? What's the black orchid?
What's that? The disc?
Yes, maybe he might have been asking that. Yeah, he must have been asking that. Good luck to get it. Yes, true. Yes. Billy said yes, it's a black orchid, and then what they mean is good luck getting this game to run on your machine. Which, yes. There's nothing better than thankfully my father was a software engineer, so he could like tinker things and I'd be like, Dad, and he'd be like, the more times than I care to think about, I heard him say horrible things about doing things to Bill Gates to murder him and 640 kilobytes because we grew up a Mac house and then eventually got PCs in the mid-90s. So there was a certain expectation of what you could and could not do on a computer that my father was very clearly not happy having to deal with when his son got into PC gaming.
I was the opposite. My dad, when I was born, he got an Apple II the day I was born, and he taught himself computers on them, and he got himself a job as a systems analyst at IBM in the mid '80s, and we did not have a Macintosh in the house after that.
Black Orchid, super rare magic card.
Black Orchid.
I see. All right, are we book clubbing?
We're book clubbing,
All
yeah.
Right, we're gonna move around here. Yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna point out the Ultima 6 Wing Commander CD-ROM.
Here, take that.
Even more than it's gonna screw up your computer and you're never gonna play it.
Yep.
It was an incredibly frustrating package because it was done at like the dawn of CD-ROM before there was like before like MSC DEX. So it used all these particular DOS 5 something. They were like executables that came with DOS 5, but not after that.
Okay.
File joins and things. Sure. So it did not run on most anybody's computer by the time you actually had it.
Oh, because what is it?
Because it liked DOS 5 but not 622.
Yeah, what is it? 622 is the thing.
622 is the one everybody knows.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say that's the one that sounded familiar to me there.
All right, everybody.
We're gonna move over to our club of booking.
It is time for book club. This is our
4,000th installment.
Yeah, 4,000th installment of our bi-weekly Wing Commander book chat.
Yep.
Today we're going to be talking about the chapter 25 of the Wing Commander 3 novelization. If you're in our Discord channel and you want to chat, just join the chat channel. We'll be making that live in just a moment.
Yep.
And we'll be talking about this chapter. This is going to be a short one because it's just one chapter.
Yeah,
but
it's very
it's
focused.
good to dip our toes back into this, and we'll have the gang, whoever is here now, and book club it.
Let's see. I think we might be missing. I'm not sure. We might be missing Mr. Reed. It looks like.
All right. Well, we got Leah. So.
Yep. So Leah's here with us. Yep. Although I guess Well, I don't know if Trelane read.
Well, why don't you chase up, folks, while I walk us through this chapter? What happened? Shouldn't have my materials prepared for this one.
All right.
All right. So, Chapter 25. This is the entirety of the Loki series in the Heart of the Tiger novelization. We change things up a little bit. We start with the arrival in the system.
Join the Discord just before you forget.
Oh, before I forget?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, no, just to join the...
Yeah.
So, Lee Hawk can hear you too.
Hit
more buttons.
There we go.
All right.
All right, I'm in the Discord now.
Now you're good.
Should be able to hear folks.
All right, and we got Mr. Reed as well.
All right. So we start off with the Behemoth refueling at a gas giant in the Loki system. It's Loki 8, which is not talked about in the game at all. And I guess there's a discussion to be had there. Does it then become Loki 7 if Loki 6 is destroyed? Star Trek 2 does not answer that question very well.
No.
It really just makes it more confusing. Anyway, we refuel. And then we cut to the Kilrathi in their palace, and Thrakath is bragging about how he knows exactly what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then we cut back to the fleet, and essentially things just increasingly go wrong. The Coventry hits a mine. We find out the Kilrathi have blocked the approaches to the planet, and it comes out that there's this squadron of Straka stealth fighters that has been following behind, waiting to ambush the Behemoth. Blair and the pilots, they fight this desperate battle, but they do not win, and we end with the destruction of the Behemoth.
Yep.
And that is our chapter. And let me welcome our panel. Hey guys, let's test our audio.
Hi everybody, happy to be back.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
Yep.
I'm here.
Hooray!
That sounds like a super enthusiastic Mr. Reed.
Sounds like a parent.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. We hope all is well out west, Chris. I see Billy's even jumped in, probably just listening from the other side.
Well, let's talk about this chapter. What did you think of this chapter, Jason?
I mean, I like it. It's you get a brief little snippet of the attack. We have a few changes. I mean, I think the one thing everybody kind of pulls away from this, Scout is actually asking, doesn't Bear get a cameo? Bear does get a cameo in this, and the kind of one scene when the Coventry hits the mine gets expanded upon. It becomes a kind of one of the plot points in False Colors about what happens to Bear as a result of that mine striking the Coventry and stuff. But I mean, I think it's a fine novelization of the events. I mean, you get a few changes. I do kind of actually like a bit more that it's the Strakas that destroyed the Behemoth as opposed to Poctons, because it kind of calls back to the Tiger's Claw.
Well, maybe there were Strakas in the game. We just couldn't see them.
Ooh, twist, huh? But other than that, I mean, it's really brief. So I mean, there's not a whole lot to kind of chomp on, except I mean, for me, I think I made 2 notes, and it was both about the Coventry. Oh no, it was my 2 notes were Cobra mentions False Colors, right? She mentions she mentions the Armistice,
fleet action.
Sorry. She mentions fleet action, and then the Coventry mine hitting is something we'll talk about more when we get to False Colors, because it is a major point of what happens to Bear and how he becomes a Greco.
So let's talk about some of the changes to the structure.
Do you want to ask the other gentlemen what they think too? You jerk.
Okay, yeah, what do you think of this chapter?
I mean, there's not a lot to chew on this, but, you can give us 7 words if you like.
It's a nice streamlined version of what happens in the game. It kind of really pares everything down. But it works, and it there's a lot of hits because it cuts back and forth. You see both sides of the strike. It's a good, entertaining chapter. I do have a question about it later that I want your opinions on, but we'll get to that.
All right.
Mr. Reed?
Yes, I'm here.
Present.
For me, I had to read the chapter in the car. Read the chapter with its accessibility features.
Okay.
So I read it in. I experienced the chapter in the most bland monotone possible, with no inflections. But I still thought the battle was pretty cool. Despite that, this book has pretty good dogfighting and such, and so
they're saying voice chat is too
exciting
quiet.
Chapter.
Nope. Sorry, we have an issue with voice chat being too quiet. We're going to turn that up.
Yeah, we'll give us 1 sec. We'll turn it up, and then which one is that? Desktop though?
That is indeed desktop because we
that's
turned it down.
Wow, what a okay.
Because we turned it down for the game. Sorry about that, guys.
Here, Leha, say a sentence about something.
I'm saying a sentence. Does that help at all?
Okay.
Yeah, let us know about that in 30
and
seconds.
then Chris, say just
I'm talking now.
Thank you, gentlemen. And then we have to wait 10 seconds to see what chat says to make sure it's good. Much better. All right.
Thank you, Scout.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, that's God. What a crappy thing that both of those are tied to that. I mean, I get it makes sense, but still.
Now you're learning soundboards, kind of.
Yes. Up and down. All right, we got much. All right, so now onto your.
Well, one thing I've heard again and again is this is a good job of novelizing these events. But it's actually incredibly different than the events of the game.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, the game treats this as sort of a pre-climax. It almost gives you cause to think the game is over. You're about to attack Kilra with this ship. It's successfully tested. Everything is going well until suddenly it's not. And then there's this moment in the game where you find out everything. We find out that Angel is dead and so on, and then we find out there's a traitor. All this stuff is like confirmed in 2 cutscenes.
Yeah, it's a lot coming at you at once.
The book, while this is treated as a big deal in the book, this is the single longest chapter in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But the book has already revealed that Angel is dead.
Mm-hmm.
The book does not make the Behemoth successful. It lowers the stakes a little bit there. In the book we don't blow up Loki. It's just the Behemoth tries to get there and is stopped.
It's stopped well before its firing point.
And it also completely changes like the minefield. That's you look at the elements of this and you see how they melted out of the script.
Mm-hmm.
We were laying minefields in the Torgo system. We were collecting fuel in the Torgo system.
Yeah.
Now they're all dramatic elements in the book.
Sure.
But as far as adaptations go, this is incredibly loose because it's almost like a watercolor version of the game.
It does change a lot of that stuff, but
the other side of it is that in the game, the Behemoth has to fire because it's there. They showed the ship. You have to show what it does before you get rid of it from the story.
Yeah,
you don't have to show that in the book per se. It's almost like a budget issue in a sense.
And I would even say, to further on your point, when we were kids, I mean, we were talking about earlier, like, you are kind of convinced at that point, like, I have to save this thing. There's a way to save this. I am just, I'm missing it. There's a trick to this. I have to figure, because it does a great job of convincing you. I mean,
that speaks to something I would say about this chapter, which is, the game is very focused on Blair. This is Blair's story. Mm-hmm. Blair's girlfriend has been killed. This is a plot to hurt Blair. The book, I mean, it's almost like, the distracted girlfriend meme, where
no, I've never heard
the girlfriend is Colonel Blair, the distracted guy is Admiral Tallman, and the something else is it's the book. The girlfriend, the guy is Bill Forstchen, and Admiral Tallman is the attractive girl. That's what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There you go. So it's almost like chance to write about Tallman. Let's switch gears entirely. Blair, you go sit in a room for 45 minutes.
Yeah, let's just hang out.
We're going to have some psychological terror for Admiral Tallman. And they do such a good job of that, especially with the... when they're torturing him about the Coventry. The way we're hearing through Blair's ears, the Coventry has been damaged, and then in a couple sections later, Bondarski's been wounded, and there are these flashes of, wow, things are really going wrong. His boy is something has happened, and Blair must be an afterthought to Tallman.
Yeah, and when rereading this the other day, it was like you felt that way too. Like you could feel Fortune coming through in that, where he's focused on his 2 guys and how Blair is kind of that extra thought, because you get just slapped in the face when that's like, wait, Bear's been wounded? Like, our golden boy, something's gone wrong? And you feel that as a kid, like when you were reading these.
And only people who know the novels. If someone just cares about Wing Commander 3, you don't even care who that is. They're the same thing as Commander Mbuto dies in this chapter, and no one knew who that was or cared. To an average reader of the book, it doesn't really matter that Commander Bondarski has been wounded. But to anybody following the series, like, whoa, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's like finding out off screen that Captain Kirk's arm fell fell off. And
Yeah.
Are we going to see it? No, we're not going to see it. Not for 4 more years.
Yeah. And that's one of those things, yeah. And it's funny, Scout says that must have felt devious when people found out there was no way to save the behemoth. And I don't know, I'm not sure if it felt devious as much, like, you felt, like, why am I an idiot for trying that 20 times instead of just playing through?
There's a couple moments in Wing Commander 3 that are like that, especially the cloaking in the last mission. We'll talk about that.
That's a real son of a bitch.
That's a genuine.
That's a real son of a bitch. Because that's... Unless you look at let's say that's a lot of drama for later. But yeah, I don't think it felt devious. It just felt you felt frustrated with yourself.
No, but
it's weird.
It is tough to have a mission that you can't win in a game that has taught you over dozens and dozens of missions that your job is to do as good as possible to continue. Yeah. So it is a strange balance aspect, I guess.
Yeah. But they do it in a good job. It's just that as a 13 or 14-year-old boy, you're like, God damn it, I'm winning, and that's what it gets you. But anyways, what else we got? What else we got here?
Well, let's see. Going back to the start of the chapter, we talked about how the very start is a redo of the Torgo 3 refueling mission, and again, it's totally different. We're not capturing Kirathi ships. We're literally flying the behemoth up to a planet and scooping up liquid hydrogen, which, let's just say, is totally badass.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I want a 30-mile-long gun to scoop up a planet.
Yeah, it just cruises down and just pulls. Yeah, that just sounds like a great thing.
And you can tell that one of our authors, probably Andrew, had been reading up on rocket science at the very start of the chapter. We have this description. Victory remained close by while Behemoth moved into a tight hyperbolic orbit. Okay, real thing, orbit with escape velocity, around the huge ball of gas. The cruiser and her consorts stood further off to give warning of any enemy interference, but there was nothing. The weapons platform dipped into the atmosphere long enough to top off the depleted tanks of liquid hydrogen, again, needed as reaction mass to move her ponderous bulk towards the target world. Which is great. When was when in Wing Commander did you ever think about the necessary reaction mass to slingshot from one planet to another? And within this chapter, we then have a moment where the behemoth simply stops short. So the physics are very much given up in the next 12 minutes, but it was cool to see right there.
Yeah.
Let me think what else. Oh, you know what I have here for everybody, for your edification, is a map of the Loki system.
Everybody.
Covering Jason's face. This is from the Wing Commander
right here,
universe map. And you can see a couple of interesting things. They put Loki in the border worlds in the post-war era. It's actually just one jump point away from Blair's home in Nafeel. Of course, none of that was lore in 1994. So, but the reason I bring this up is because Loki has a bit of what I call an Endor issue.
Yep.
Like, let me ask you right now, man to man, just you and me, what is Endor?
Endor is a planet that has a forest moon around it.
Is it, or is it the moon?
I mean, yeah, it's one of those. I thought I was being smart by thinking, because, right, the Death Star is on the water planet or something.
That just complicates the matter, but
bitch.
Right.
If you look at that Wing Commander Prophecy map, you see it's labeled Loki 6.
Billy says that's the work of Captain Johnny.
Yes. Oh, the map itself, John Gunsel.
It's
designer of Prophecy and Secret Ops, and it's one of the things that Wing Commander fans absolutely treasure.
Yep.
Luckily, over the years, thanks to folks like Billy, we've gotten the actual publisher files, so there's an incredibly perfect born digital copy of it on the CIC if anybody wants to pour over it.
In the WCPDR Wikipedia, we have a giant one that we built a bunch of years ago and have left.
Yeah, I'm since my brain is I know that if you search for Popsicle Pete on the front page and then go to the second page of updates, it's there.
And everybody loves Pete. Our resident politician of the Wing Commander community. Probably out signing some, cutting some ribbon or some shit tonight, I'm sure, up in Canada.
So some sources call the system Loki 6. The book obviously takes that as the planet. But if you look at the map there, it calls it Loki 6, so Loki 8 would be something else. And there's a couple times that gets weird in Wing Commander. But for instance, Privateer 2, do you know the systems of the Tri-System?
Has a lot of spaceships.
Has a lot of spaceships. You know the three systems? Isaac, Irulan, of course you do.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, you can tell the next part, because you know where I'm going with this.
I've just blacked them out, in Privateer 2.
Janus 4, the fancy capital planet of the Tri-System. What is Janus 4? There's not a Janus system. What's it the fourth planet in? It's just a place called Janus 4.
It's just the fourth Janus planet, man. Like, Janus found these 4 planets. Like, when they jumped in system, that was it. Ban.
Anyway. I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to point out.
Cool story, bro.
One thing I kind of noted as interesting was the fact that the Victory's escorts are roughly named correctly. They mentioned the Ajax, the Sheffield, and the Coventry. That's not in the Wing Commander 3 script. And so much of the novelization you can see is based on script with no visuals. So I'm curious how that detail reached Andrew Keith when he was writing it. But that's a mystery for...
Unfortunately, yes, we can never...
Let's see. I pulled out a quote from Tolwyn. Maintain your vigilance, gentlemen, and be ready for anything. There's from foreshadowing him and his vigilance.
Yeah.
And we already talked about how the refueling was badass, but even more badass
I do like
is
this
the
line too,
term the Kilrathi use for it.
Yeah.
And I have the quote here. Their movements conform to a wilderness refueling operation.
Yeah, that just sounds... That sounds so bad.
That's so sci-fi made-up military thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, all right, that does sound pretty cool, because what you picture is, you're figuring some armored unit under a bunch of trees with some camouflage netting up in there, feeling from their Bowsers and stuff like that out in the field, but yeah.
And another point where this kind of turns the table on Wing Commander 3 is this is the point in Wing Commander 3 of the game's narrative where we are told there is a traitor for sure. Yeah. In the book, we actually use this chapter to kind of suggest there's not. Thrakath makes a point of how his intelligence is not from a traitor, it's from his Kilrathi carrier that's been shadowing the Victory, the Sarharai. He explicitly says that, and then when we get to the battle where we see the Kilrathi character, the Kilrathi pilot stand in, he talks about how they're no longer prevented from fighting Hobbs. They're now allowed to kill Hobbs.
Yeah, they can kill anybody. So that's right.
Yeah, they're it's like, oh, they're hiding the traitor at this point in the book. So I thought that was interesting.
I do like your next point a lot. This is
an interesting one. I apologize for using the word interesting so much for not meaning it.
Yeah,
but
this is a good. It's a point worth thinking about for what comes later on.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Wing Commander continuity, Melek is always kind of a big weird question mark.
Yeah.
We see him again in Wing Commander 4, and he seems to be the leader. We hear about him occasionally in like the fiction and prophecy. He's Chancellor Melek now, and he's trying to hold together the Empire. But there's very little background about him. He didn't appear before Wing Commander 3, so we don't know where he came from. He just seems to be Thrakath's advisor.
Yeah. To jump back to an earlier episode, I kind of like your headcanon of him being the Hakaga captain. Mm-hmm. At the end, it tells him like, pull your shit. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that being him.
Yeah, and then you can write the great
because then it fits with
Thrakath Melek romance.
Well, because it fits with then this quote you're talking about here, where it's like Thrakath is just so deluded with his own brilliance that Melek just is like, I can't put up with this really. Like,
yeah, we have this bit about Melek. It says the arrogance of the imperial family was one of the major sources of disaffection among the great nobles of the realm, and Melek was finding it difficult to maintain his pose of sycophancy as Thrakath's posturing grew more blatant. Like, is Melek maybe not a Karanka noble Kilrathi? I don't know. It's
basically, it's like he's not Keitel for Hitler or something. He's not the.
And I know Chris Reed pointed out, and he's going to point out right now that he's a baron according to the CCG. Yeah. But what's he a baron of? Question mark.
Yeah, but it's like, I guess he's trying to show that he's not the the sycophant you see. He's not the Borman. He's not the Kaito you see in Hitler's circle. He's instead someone who's starting to think twice about things, but still,
I pulled out Cobra's. Cobra is one of the only characters who read Fleet Action. I'll believe it when I see it, Cobra said. I figure we'll still have to keep the fleet ready, peace treaty or no. Which, pause right there. Obviously, yes. The thing that bugs me about Star Trek 6 so much is it's like, well, we're going to have peace with the Klingons, so we don't need the Starfleet anymore. How does that follow to anyone?
If you've ever read any history at all,
World War II is over. We don't need the Navy anymore. To continue on that, you can't trust the cats to keep any treaty. Just look at what they did the last time we signed our armistice with them. So the rare acknowledgement that the last book
right,
happened,
though. 1,000% right. You have to de-arm. You're talking full. This is German. De-arm, denazify. You got to do everything to them to make sure they're in line.
And here's a weird one that I pulled.
Denazify? Is that a word?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
that is a word.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did in Germany after the war to make sure that they wouldn't rise up there. We need to de-cranka?
De-Krigankify?
I don't know, but we got one of those.
Krigankify.
Yeah. Boom, inventing new words every day.
Here's a weird one I pulled out, which is, quote, Marshall grinned, a wolfish, uncanny smile similar to Paladin's. What's the matter, Colonel, sir? You'd rather sit here and collect dust, but...
What a weird
description, especially since the book has not had Paladin as a character to this point. It's similar to someone It's similar to a character who will be introduced in a chapter.
So this is what, I guess, in English class, when you're taking your fancy classes, this is called bad foreshadowing. This is what you should not do.
And is Paladin specifically known
especially
for smiling?
Right before he shows up in the very next damn chapter. Right? Let's get to the colors talks. You gotta
Oh, you want to talk about this? Coventry?
Yeah, because the Coventry, this is something that we see here for the first time, but then the consequences of this one mine hit play greatly into the novel of False Colors and how Bondarsky's mentality is at that point.
Yes, at the time when we had this chapter, it almost just seemed like an aside that Jason Bondarsky was on the Coventry, and that it's hit a mine and he's injured and we never hear from him again. But that serves as the basis for an entire another novel that surprised us in 1999 that starts with Bear having lost his arm and going through PTSD and all that, and it's interesting. It's all from asides in this chapter of this book. Which is one of the great things about a shared universe is you can take the tiniest little reference and you can spin some entirely crazy story. And if your universe is great and popular and big, you can tell that story 5 times. How many times have we found out how the rebels got the Death Star plans? And it doesn't matter that it's totally different each time. Dark Forces is as great a memory in my mind as Rogue One. And I don't hate either one for not being the other. And that's how a shared universe
because it is
works.
such a great... Because it is, it's such a passing moment in that, where then it becomes one of the central themes of his character in False Colors, because he's always going back to it and how that changed him.
Yeah, and that's why it's a shame that Wing Commander is such a small canon overall. You could have continued writing these books forever.
Yeah, you could have done what they do with Halo now, where they're cranking out stuff about every random planetoid and whatever the hell, where I can't even keep up.
Well, changing gears. Here is a quote from Blair as he's flirting with Rachel. Because, again, Blair is already over. He's already knows that Angel has died, so he's already moved on in the novelization, which, again, very different from the book, or the game. But here's Blair's... He smiled. They can't do that. Didn't you hear? I'm the heart of the tiger. Can't have a party without the heart of the tiger, And my note here is that the prospect of doing a genocide has made Blair giddy. It's what a weird attitude to have as you're taking off to wipe out an entire planet.
Hey, babe, we're about to blast plants while you feel like getting down.
So, that's all a thing. We've got a Tora in there when the Kilrathi attack. Here's the part where the huge blip on his screen had to be a weapons platform, the primary target. It had come to a dead stop while the carrier edged closer to the minefield. So much for the reaction mass to slingshot it to Loki's.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too, where it's like, why the hell, like, why are we stopping instead of trying to skirt? We know what the minefield is, let's skirt the edge of it to try to go around, or... Yeah, not the best naval tactics. You should never stop your ship at sea.
Here's the only reference to White Squadron, and this again is a thing where it almost seems like it's a typo, and Blair suddenly calls out White Squadron. But then if you go back to the previous chapter, yes, Tolwyn does have an aside about how they're transferring a Hellcat squadron
extras on board. Yeah,
it's just never referred to or explained until Blair happens to call it White Squadron. I suspect this chapter in particular, especially since it's so long and it's a little bit more Force Ginny with the bear stuff. I bet this was a heavily edited chapter. That's why we have things like the description of Paladin before Paladin appears as a character.
Okay.
I suspect this was a
chapter you get a little bit more. Okay, I could see that. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it does seem like you're right, because it does get the dips about
it. We have some maniac privilege here, which is we're in the battle, and Denise Mabuto, the Aero Squadron commander, radios Blair, and he says, "Skipper, don't you think?" "Calm silence," Blair snapped. "Follow my lead, damn it." And still they drove until the weapons platform filled the entire forward cockpit, and he could make out individual structures and projections on the hull of the gigantic device. As he swept down the metal surface, Blair suddenly pulled up, skimming within 50 meters of the behemoth. He had a maniacal grin on his face as he pictured the reactions of the other fighters behind him. "Woo-wee, what a ride," Marshall shouted, and Blair didn't reprimand him for breaking communication silence. The man's reaction was something he could understand. So one of his squadron commanders is like, "Do you think we should..." Furious at him.
A valid concern about the operation.
And then Maniac is like, "Woo-wee!" And then, no problem there. And then, of course, Mabuto dies. So,
yes. Very shortly after that.
Sucks to not be a main character. Let's see.
I do find that line about when they have Bonderski and then you have the Admiral struggling after Bonderski's been wounded, where it's like, it's funny. Why does he give two craps about the captain of a destroyer? Like, that should not be his primary concern when he's fighting a fleet with the biggest gun in the galaxy.
We understand that.
Sure, but still, that's not something a commanding officer should be focused on.
Let me ask you guys something.
Yeah, let's get this Lehigh question.
Yeah.
And it's not really, it's more of an opinion. Is it me, or does it seem like this is a really underpowered strike force to be escorting the most powerful gun in the fleet?
Yes, and they talk about that a couple chapters earlier, I think. They talk about how there's this political situation where Tolwyn is not as big as he thinks he is, and there are people actively trying to sabotage him, and that's why he couldn't get the other carrier groups.
Yeah, because this is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Now, would that lead into the regular, what would you call it, the parallels to MacArthur, where he thinks that he's this great leader and this is his hubris by taking it out despite not having proper coverage?
I don't think it's hubris that he's taking it out. I think, well, let me give a little bit more nuance to that. I think it's in the game, it's hubris that he's going straight to Kilra, because they talk about how they're going to do this test and see how the Kilrathi respond, and Blair goes, "You're taking that straight to Kilra, aren't you?" And Tolwyn goes, "What would you do with you if you had the biggest gun in the universe?" And then they jump immediately to Kilra instead of, or they move immediately to Kilra instead of trying to see how the Kilrathi respond to the test. So I think that is hubris. The book, a little bit less so. I think it's more Tolwyn as a man coming apart. He knows that he has to do this to win the war, and he genuinely believes this is the last chance. He has enemies who are keeping him from doing it as right as he wants to, because he certainly knows, it needs another 6 months of work before it's defensible. He's a desperate man rather than one with a particular amount of hubris, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he is... Because as well, again, to lean into false colors, it's that, he's not only thinking about the fall of the Confederation, but then he's thinking about, trying to avoid the coup before his coup within the coup.
Yeah, that gets another layer that gets added later.
Yeah, when you're talking about him coming apart, he must know the fact that he has a light carrier and 3 escorts, following this massive weapons platform that very clearly, I mean, you're not taking this thing anywhere. I mean, even the fleet that jumps into Vuker, I don't think is enough to cover the Behemoth, those 4 carriers and those dozens of escorts. I mean, this is something you're bringing out the entire fleet to be, you know, I mean, this is the core of it.
Well, there's another interesting point in the book versus the game. In the game, yes, he's going to the Koar system. He's taking on Thrakath head on.
Yeah.
Here, he's intercepted while he's doing the supposedly safe test. They've scouted the system. There are no Korathi there. This is Trinity. It's not Hiroshima. So it's everything falling apart earlier impacts the story a bit.
That actually raises another point when you say that, because the fact there's a point where they talk about, you know, trying to get away from the minefield, and instead Toland said, we're going to push right through it. We're going to find the hole, and we're gonna complete this, despite the fact it's very clear, hey, there's a minefield directly in your line of advance that wasn't there before. They know you're, like, this is the time you need to pull back, withdraw, and not try to force the issue. Like, this is not worth, you know, the get-it-done-itis that he has.
My sense is very much McClellan at the 7 Days. I have this... everything is going wrong, and I don't understand it, and I've convinced myself it's worse than it is, and I've lost confidence in myself.
I mean, I don't see it as... I don't see it as him much lose confidence. He's so driven to complete it no matter what. He's willing to sacrifice these other units as long as the Behemoth just finishes. It's not even he's thinking about the next thing. It's like he gets trapped in that moment and can't let go. Because I'm trying to remember the line when he says that, where he's like, you know, I forget if it's Blair or somebody says, you know, we need to go around, we need to do something. And he's like, no, we're going to push. We're going to slow down, and we're going to check this all out.
Well, even just the Admiral struggling to maintain control. He stopped visibly gathering his composure before he spoke again. Just do your job, Blair. Tall and clear.
Because at that point, he's put his favorite child, and now
he's falling apart.
Yeah. Because it's all coming to pieces. Because at that point, I think that's before he has that push along.
Yeah, that's before that.
Because then he's
trying to figure out what to do.
Mike wants an explanation on General McClellan, the Union general.
Oh, okay. Well, and we can even tie this to Wing Commander, because there is for whatever reason, there's a TCS McClellan at Pegasus Station in the movie intro. McClellan was at the start of the Civil War, and the Civil War historians will put all these details that go between us, but essentially he was the Union general who was early on the most spectacular. He won a couple of small victories at a time when everyone else was losing battles, and he very quickly moved up to command the army in the East. And he was this incredibly handsome, confident... he looked like what a general should be, and he trained his army the way you should train an army. But when it came to the actual battles, it turned out that he couldn't fight them. He was afraid of committing his forces. He would convince himself the enemy was much larger and that things were going wrong, and he couldn't counter things. You know, no self-confidence in that. And they have this battle. The Battle of the 7 Days are this campaign. You know, he tries to. Again, he hates Lincoln, and he refuses to move constantly. There's this famous quote that it's like, unfortunately he brought his army, but luckily he brought himself to
I'm trying to remember that. Because like the McClellan's like this, he's very famous as being one of the greatest training and organizational generals, but he's horrific at action. He's not a great. He's one of those guys you put in the rear with the gear to make sure everything's aligned, but he's not someone who's going to go out and find the fight.
And it's this case where he has this giant army. It's 2 or 3 times the size of the enemy army. It's so much better equipped. If he just pushed it, he would win. But he fights this Battle of the 7 Days, which is like 5 battles in 7 days, trying to fight your way up Virginia, and it's like 3 victories out of 5, and he retreats afterwards. It all falls apart, even though it should not.
He has. I mean, he's the guy who, again, he has the battle plans for basically Antietam, and still manages to allow Lee to escape after walloping him out there.
Yeah, he doesn't press the battle. He does what he has to, sort of.
Yeah, he's unwilling to kind of do that.
And much like Tolwyn, he runs for president.
Yeah.
In 1864. Yeah. I have two quotes about the behemoth I wanted to note here, because this first one shows you the one of the joys of adapting based on a script rather than any sort of visuals. And we saw this in this chapter earlier with the launch tubes. We kept mentioning the Victory's launch tubes, which is not a thing in Wing Commander 3. Because when Andrew Keith would have written this, he would have maybe Wing Commander 1 to play, Wing Commander 1 to 2 to play, but nothing for Wing Commander 3. He would have some sketches in the script and some notes. But here we have the behemoth described.
I don't know if he did that too. I forget what he had before.
Still, Bill Fortune never had any of the games to play.
Yeah, let me look super fast.
Still skimming low over the curved body of the behemoth, the Terran fighters flashed past the pressurized section of the hull where the control center and the crew quarters were housed. Again, no, it's not curved at all. The behemoth is possibly the least curved ship there is. Also, I also noted in this chapter that we're really using Terran everywhere. It's super Terran right now. They're the Terran forces. It's not Confederation. I don't know why, but that did stick out in this chapter. And then my other behemoth quote that I liked from the end of it was, Blair could see life pods and shuttles detaching from the behemoth as the explosion spread and swelled. He pulled up abruptly, steering back through a gauntlet of Kirathi Straka. You don't see that in the game, but it's a cool visual of the shuttles and pods and things. And then,
to fill in when you were asking about what Andrew had, you had asked when we had this interview way back in 1996, did you have any previous experience with the Wing Commander universe? Not a bit. They sent me a copy of the script for the movie part of the game. I took it from there and prayed I got it right.
And that's a common story with all of these guys. I could spend a couple hours talking about helping with the Wing Commander movie novel as a teenager. That was a hell of a time. And I will at some point.
So this is interesting. He says, how involved is Origin in the writing or editing of the book? Well, not much until the final edit. They waited until then to make me resurrect 2 very dead characters. And I forgot about this, that he had to do this.
Oh, no, we'll be talking about this in a couple weeks.
Yeah. And you said, which ones? And he said, Maniac was one, and I forget the other, but it was in the final raid on Kilra, Vaquero, Vagabond. Yeah. Yeah, my original orders were to kill everyone but Blair.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right.
And we'll talk about how that actually delayed the publication of the novel a little bit later. But that is it for me for comments about this. Let's go around the room, see if anybody else out there has anything else they want to add.
Yeah, I say our panels. I mean, I think I've kind of pumped it about.
No, I think I'm all right.
All right. Mr. Reed?
Yeah, it was a good chapter. Even though it was one chapter, it was pretty lengthy. There's a lot to it, but
yeah,
I covered it well.
Yeah,
it's not quite the climax of the book, but it's up there. It's a major bump, and things in the game and the novel are going to be very different. Starting in our next review, which will hopefully be more than one chapter.
Yeah. Well, listen, we can't change what Andrew did. Okay. I believe the next one is Blackmane when they're trying to figure stuff out when Paladin shows up. If I remember, that is a great. Okay, this is very topical. That will only be funny to Ben and Allie and myself. That was a Bob Ross level behemoth you just pulled.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm drawing this chip for the end of this.
You just Bob Ross, dude. Really, green? It's red.
I don't have red. Okay.
You have pink.
All right. Well. With that, I will thank you guys for tuning in to Book Club. We will see you in 2 weeks for the Alcor and the Templar Bomb stuff, which, again, gets very shortened in the novel, so it should be interesting seeing exactly how it ties up.
Final thoughts from our panel, or final goodbyes, I guess? I don't know what we'd say to them. I don't know.
Goodbye.
Good luck. Goodbye. Good luck with whatever's going on, Mr. Reed. It sounds like you're having a night.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, and with that, I will jump over to our ending cutscene.
Yep. The big screens.
All right. Well, this is the part of our show where we talk about what's next week, and next week will be the 3DO Loki system. So those same missions played on the 3DO, and we'll look at all the differences, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to sign my logbook here, which I've indeed drawn a behemoth there.
A great Bob Ross quick behemoth.
And by the way, as I drew this Bob Ross behemoth, I realized the behemoth is the Doomsday weapon, isn't it?
From Star Trek.
Yeah, very much. It's literally the
same thing.
Doomsday device.
So Ben,
our pen is dead.
we Ben broke our pen.
Okay. Pretend to sign.
Okay. Yeah, we both our signatures are really without question horrible on that one. But yeah, we'll have that next week. We should probably do the next set of Righteous Fire because we will need to finish that off. And then we'll do whatever randomness people ask us.
We're going to go check out Picard.
Yeah,
hope you all have a great night. Thanks for wing commanding around with us.
2 hours and 26 minutes.
Not too bad. So
you were right, you cheating bastard with your
I'm
Loki.
Dr. Clyde Burrows from the Omnicron Institute. There's a lot of debate about atmospheric flight moving command. Can all ships do it, or is it just certain ones, like the Hellcat or the Vindicator? We can leave that discussion to Ben and Jason. But what's not in doubt is that aircraft that can fly in both atmosphere and in outer space really do exist, and they've been around for a lot longer than you might think. The still futuristic-looking North American X-15 rocket plane was first flown in 1959, and in a decade of tests, it brought 12 men all the way to the edge of space. The technology it premiered would go on to launch the development of space planes like the Space Shuttle Orbiter, which launched like a traditional rocket but became a traditional aircraft during re-entry. See you on the next exciting episode of All Wings Considered.